artist there. That's it from me. Hand you over to Greg. Have a good day and thanks for listening.
Marty Friel, thanks very much indeed. Okay, it is 9 o'clock. It's time for News Update. And let's cross over right now to Donna Marie Doherty.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Dáil is to meet this morning to elect the next government. Micheál Martin will return as Taoiseach a little over 2 years since handing the role to Fine Gael. Political correspondent Sean Defoe explains how today will proceed.
So this morning the Dáil meets at 11. There'll be speeches nominating the various candidates for Taoiseach, a proposer and a seconder. Then there'll be the vote. The first vote will be for Micheál Martin. He's going to win that vote now that the government has formed, now that the Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil parties have got the support of the regional independents. He'll go and see President Michael D. Higgins, where he'll get his seal of office, and then he comes back and the nervous wait really begins then for prospective ministers, because they can be called at any time. They don't necessarily know it's coming. They don't necessarily know who else is in or who else is out, and they'll be called to Micheál Martin's office to be appointed to this government.
Well, Donegal Deputy Charlie McConalogue is likely to not return as Agriculture, Marine and Food Minister, but is likely to remain in the Cabinet under a new position. A status orange wind warning has been issued for the entire country as Storm Éowyn makes his way towards Ireland. Met Éireann says Friday morning will see severe, damaging and destructive winds with gusts of up to 130 kilometres widely across Ireland and even higher gusts for a time. The orange wind warning comes into effect at 2 a.m. on Friday morning until 5 p.m. on Friday evening, with the potential for fallen trees, damage to power lines and power outages, structural damage and very difficult travelling conditions. Carlo's Weather, Alan O'Reilly, says the storm could be as bad as Storm Ophelia of 2017.
But this looks like the most significant storm I've seen on weather forecasting models since probably Ophelia. Now, I'm not saying it'll be as bad as Ophelia for some areas, but it could be. There is a possibility that it will be close to that, where the strongest of the winds come into the southwest or the west. Obviously, as this storm hasn't even developed fully yet, tracking it and the exact track will change. So I'd imagine Met Éireann will be updating and possibly upgrading.
2 men have been arrested in Derry in connection with the serious assault of a man in Lifford. It happened at a house on Connyborough Road on Monday morning. The man in his 20s was airlifted to the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast for treatment. His father, who's in his 60s, was also injured. Residents and businesses in the vicinity of Mount Charles are warned they may experience a water outage today as repairs get underway to a burst water main. Mount Charles Lower, Drumore and Drongorman are to be affected. The works are due to be complete by 3 o'clock this afternoon, but it could take up to 4 hours after this time for regular supply to return. A major barrier to solving the recruitment and retention crisis in the Defence Forces has been removed, according to a representative group. RACO is welcoming the move by the outgoing Minister for Enterprise to no longer submit the forces to an exemption to the Working Time Directive. Members are now entitled to guaranteed rest periods, while those deployed overseas will have their reunion flight paid for after previously paying for it themselves. RACO's General Secretary Conor King says their members are happy to get the rights they deserve.
Well, anything that shows people that they're valued and that their time is actually valued and not treated as an infinite resource can only be a good thing. What we're going to see through the implementation of the Working Time Directive is predictability and certainty, but also enhanced rest periods for the high tempo operations and exercises that the Defence Forces personnel do on a regular basis.
Mist and fog will lift from most areas today, but it may be stubborn to clear from places. It'll be mostly dry, but there will be a few isolated showers and some sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 4 to 7 degrees. That's all from now from Highland Radio News, back again at 10 o'clock.
Hey, looking for car insurance that's simple, fast and comes with a little extra? That's RedClick. Until the end of March, when you quote and buy online, we'll give you a €40 retail voucher to treat yourself to something special. For insurance that's easy, insurance that's quick, visit redclick.ie. €40 voucher offer is valid for new private car policies purchased from 1st January to 31st March. Acceptance criteria, terms and conditions apply. Generali Seguros y Reyes Seguros SAU. Trading as RedClick and Generali is authorised by the General Directorate of Insurance and Pension Funds in Spain and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland for conduct of business rules.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. How are you all keeping out there? It's approaching 5 minutes past 9 on this Wednesday. We're at the 22nd of January 2025. And we're here with you for the next 3 hours. A great mix coming up. 1 second, I'll fix this mic. A great mix of stuff coming up for you. We'll keep you across all the big stories of the day. Obviously, the Dail resumes today before they take a 2-week break, a further break, so ministers can catch up on their portfolios and what have you. We'll have, I suppose, some prediction speculation as to who will get what in the new cabinet. We'll have the very latest on potentially quite a nasty storm heading our way Thursday night into Friday morning. Chris is in with Business Matters and so much more besides. We want you involved in that conversation, sparking the conversation throughout the morning. WhatsApps and texts, it's a simple number at this stage, 086 60 25,000. You can send WhatsApp voice notes to that number as well. If you prefer, give us a call, 07491 25,000. And comments at highlandradio.com is the email, comments at highlandradio.com. And feel free to comment on our stream. We stream the programme every single day where you can watch it, whether you choose to do so on your mobile devices. On Facebook, Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituary Notices or Highland Hub. On the X platform at Highland Radio. Or indeed on YouTube, Highland Radio Ireland, where you can watch on your big screen, your smart TV or your Fire Stick as well, whichever you prefer. Right, let's have a look at what's making the papers today and a couple of big stories dominating all of the papers. We'll start with the locals, though, and the Finn Valley Voice this morning. It's been a long, long wait, 64 years to be exact. That's how long it's since we, Dan McMenamin, father of dentist Mac McMenamin and comedian Rosalie Linehan, retired as the Finn Valley's first and last elected TD. All that changes today when Charles Ward of the 100% Redress Party strides into Dáil Éireann to take his seat under the new government of the 35th Dáil. His priority is obviously the 100% Redress movement, and he expects full cooperation from the other Donegal TDs. We'll speak to him, I think, hopefully a little later on in the programme. On to the nationals now, the Irish Daily Mail. The Dáil is back, but first, 2 weeks off. The 34th Dáil will finally be ratified today, and of its first acts will impose a 2-week recess. One paper says it's the 35th Dáil and the other the 34th. The 34th Dáil, the Daily Mail says anyway, will finally be ratified today, and one of its first acts will be to impose a 2-week recess. 8 weeks after voters gave Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael a mandate to form a new government. Micheál Martin will be elected as Taoiseach this morning with the aid of 9 independent TDs. It comes as regional independent TDs are controversially set to be given speaking time on opposition benches on a temporary basis, even though some were involved in government formation talks. The Dáil will vote to approve Mr Martin's cabinet this afternoon, but it will not reconvene until February 5th. A decision that has been labelled outrageous by the opposition. A spokesperson for Taoiseach in waiting, Mr Martin, said last night. Mr Martin last night defended the 2-week recess, insisting it is normal following formation of a new government and that just 4 sitting days will be missed due to the St Bridget's Day bank holiday. But it's that type of thing that sticks in the craw of a lot of people out there, but it is what it is. So who's going to get what? The Independent reports that Fianna Fáil TD Jim O'Callaghan is being tipped for a dramatic appointment as Justice Minister when cabinet roles are announced today. And I think many people will welcome him to that position. He's been quite vocal, sometimes not necessarily his views aligning with that of the government on justice matters. So I think some people will welcome his elevation there. Fine Gael's Jennifer Carroll McNeill, who I think is quite an impressive politician, becoming Health Minister, is expected to be the other eye-catching promotion within the new government. Micheál Martin and Simon Harris are putting the finishing touches to their cabinet lineups. Mr O'Callaghan turned down a junior ministry 5 years ago and was left on the back benches. However, senior Fianna Fáil figures are now linking him with the Justice Minister's job. It's highly likely. It's all being considered with geography, gender and so on, a source close to incoming Taoiseach Micheál Martin said. If Mr O'Callaghan misses out on the cabinet yet again, outgoing Junior Minister James Brown could take the role. Meanwhile, Fianna Fáil's Dara Calleary is also tipped for the cabinet, but he's in a major fight for inclusion with Charlie McConalogue. Now, previous governments, coalition governments, perhaps maybe didn't knock their heads together when trying to get a decent geographical spread of ministers. It's very East Coast based with the speculation. So the geography works arguably in either Dara O'Brien or Charlie McConaughey's favour, because they'll want to be seen to have representation scattered throughout the country. But it's a toughie. Agriculture is going to Fine Gael, it seems. They've swapped that portfolio. Charlie McConaughey is being linked with higher education, but Marion Harkin, albeit an independent, is speculated to be a junior minister in higher education, unless that speculation is changed. She is in the Donegal constituency. Dara Colery is well liked within Fianna Fáil ranks as well. I'm not saying Charlie McConaughey isn't, but it's going to be an interesting one. We'll know by the end of today. And generally speaking, to people out there, regardless of their political persuasion, most people see the benefit of having a minister in Donegal, but we'll have to wait and see. It certainly won't be agriculture if speculation is to be believed that that's going to Fine Gael. So we'll have to wait and see. We'll have further speculation on that a little later on in the programme. Now, the Irish Times this morning: Trump's plan to exit global tax pact threatens Ireland, potentially. Ireland faces a fresh threat to its income from American multinationals operating here after US President Donald Trump moved to pull his country out of a landmark global corporate tax deal. This has set up a potential standoff between his administration and the EU. Now, I may have misread in the past, but my understanding that this was very much on the cards if Kamala Harris was president, and that Congress were looking at this themselves in any case. So whilst it is Trump that signed the executive order, and I could be wrong here, who am I to question the Irish Times? But my understanding was that was on death row anyway. But the US president made the move by executive order, withdrawing US support for a global tax agreed at the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development. Last year, the pact allows other countries to levy top-up taxes on US multinationals. Mr. Trump said the US would be withdrawing from the deal to make companies pay a minimum corporate tax rate of 15%. Importantly for Ireland, he also announced plans to retaliate against countries applying extraterritorial levies on US multinationals, in a further sign that the US president intends to seek to rewrite global tax regimes to favour US companies. That being said, it is quite complicated because the United States is heavily in debt, and they also need to be able to sell to other countries. He's threatening Canada with tariffs. Canada says they're the biggest trading partner of with America. They're saying, right, okay, you want to get into a tariffs war, we will. He wants to take on China. China's incredibly powerful as well. And all of these things potentially, because we've seen in the past, drive up inflation in the United States, because when he increased tariffs on China previously, it ended up really being the American people that ended up paying those tariffs, right? Just the way this stuff works. There's also a trading deficit with Europe and the United States, but Europe's a big, powerful bloc of countries as well. So we've always known, because God knows it's been said plenty of times, that the corporation tax is not a tax that we can really rely on for everyday spending and into the long term. So that was a gravy chain that was always going to run out. Is it going to run out now? I'm not quite convinced. Multinationals, there's an awful lot for multinationals to be based in Ireland as well. It's in Europe, to have one foot in Europe. Obviously, we have a fantastic workforce here. They're very successful in their operations here. So simply just because taxes changed, it doesn't mean all of a sudden there's going to be a mass exodus. What it could complicate is attracting future companies into Ireland. But his is a 4-year term. And, a lot of the stuff that he's introducing, like drill, baby, drill and all that type of stuff, that's not going to be easy to implement either. For the simple reason is that our oil companies going to start reinvesting in oil? Whether people like the climate message or what have you, we are moving away from fossil fuels globally with some resistance. He's kicking and screaming. But I mean, if I'm a massive oil company and I'm already investing billions in renewable energy, because that's probably where we're going to be in 10, 15, 20, 30 years, do I start reinvesting in drilling all over American soil because Donald Trump says so? He could be out of power again in 4 years' time. So I'm not really quite sure a lot of what he is promising. And it's not because I question his intention or his commitment to it, but practically I think a lot of what he's promising is going to be difficult to implement because he needs the oil companies to say, all right, then oil's back, baby. But I don't believe that they will. On to the Irish Daily Star now. And a woman on trial accused of murdering a pensioner told a friend she had battered a man with a rock until his face was at the back of his head and that she liked it, the Central Criminal Court heard. The trial also heard a recording of a separate phone call in which the accused woman, Nikita Burns, said that after a fight with the deceased, Robin Wilkin, she and her co-accused, Alan Vile, drove until 3 a.m. and pushed Mr. Wilkin off Slieve League. She said they won't find him, but added that there was blood on the roof of the car in which the alleged assault took place. She added, there is a slim chance we'll get caught for it, but if I go down, I go down. That trial continues before Mr. Justice Paul McDermott and a jury of 5 men and 7 women. Right, back to the United States and tech mogul, isn't it? Text mogul. Okay, text mogul. Elon Musk says his critics need better dirty tricks after being accused of doing a Nazi salute at President Trump's inauguration parade. The ex-Tesla boss, now also joint head of the new Department of Government Efficiency, shocked audiences by clapping his hand over his chest and then thrusting his straight arm skywards on Monday. Now, I'm not sure of this man's motivation of what he did. And I was on X briefly yesterday, and his supporters are saying he's got autism, and this is just his way of expressing himself, and he's throwing his heart out to the crowd. And obviously others that wish to take him down are saying that he's supported neo-Nazis in the past, the AfD in Germany, and that this was just the mask slipping. I don't know what it is or what his intention was, but it was very, very, very reminiscent of a Nazi salute. So I've seen videos of Nazi salutes, and it was the exact same. And I don't think we can blame autism or Asperger's or things like that on this type of stuff. Now, I could be wrong. So it looked absolutely brutal. What his intention was, I'm not in the man's head. I don't know. But he did do a Nazi salute. Now, he claimed, or his supporters claimed, he grabbed his heart and was throwing it out to the crowd. But he did this... He did this facing the crowd, he did it to the crowd at the back, and then he did it again. And it looks terrible. It absolutely looks brutal. But as I say, the world, there's no grey area anymore. The world's so confused at the moment. He either is, doing a Nazi salute, his opposers say, or he isn't, as his supporters say. That being said, the further right you go, they clapped him and says, well done, this is it, this was a Roman salute, fantastic stuff, well done, Elon. Then you go a little bit further up, but there's other ways to throw your heart out there. You can make the little heart with your hands, and you can push it out, or you can tap your chest and thrust your heart out with your hands lowered. It was just a very unusual way of throwing your heart out to the people. But as I say, people's views tend to side with whether they support he and Donald Trump or not. Finally, in The Sun this morning, a High Court judge is considering a submission that would allow the Attorney General to sequester the assets of Taoiseach, I beg your pardon, some people would like it, teacher Enoch Burke over fines imposed on him for contempt of court. Mr. Justice David Nolan said he estimates Mr. Burke owes around €190,000 to date, following a €700 a day fine imposed by the court since January 2023. Barristers representing Rossa Fanning said he believes he can bring an application to sequester the teacher's assets. And it seems to be that the school no longer is trying to get him imprisoned, and they're going after his assets instead. Right, I can go now to line one. Fionnán Sheehan is Ireland editor at the Irish Independent, and he joins us now. Fionnán, thanks so much for your time.
Greg, how's it going?
Going good, Fionnán. Now, I mean, obviously, lots of speculation as to what might happen today. It seems Fine Gael a little bit more leaky in this regard compared to Fianna Fáil.
Yeah, no Fine Gael TD for Donegal, so nothing to shout for at your end. So we're looking at, on the Fine Gael side, Taoiseach Simon Harris becoming Taoiseach Simon Harris, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Trade and Defence. You then have Pascal Donoghue back into finance, Helen McEntee moving to education, Patrick O'Donovan moving to communications and arts. So rural broadband is in there. Jennifer Carroll McNeil then going into health. Peter Burke staying in enterprise and taking on tourism but losing trade. And Martin Hayden from Kildare taking Charlie McConaughey's job as Minister for Agriculture, as that flips between the two parties. And then over on the Fine Gael side, the Fianna Fáil side, Charlie McConaughey, there's a bit of speculation about it, but nobody's saying he's being dropped from cabinet. We're just unclear where he's going. Higher education is a good guess.
Just in relation to
that.
Just in relation to that, Finan, is the speculation still that Marion Harkin, independent, might be a junior minister for higher education? Because that was circulating last week.
Yeah, but you have a junior minister there already. So you have Niall Collins of Fianna Fáil is currently the junior minister. So there is already a junior minister in that department. That department was created kind of off on Micheál Martin's behest 5 years ago, and there was some thought that maybe it would be scrapped and merged back in with regular education. But I'm told that in the course of government talks, it was actually Micheál Martin who said, no, we're sticking with it. It's too important an issue. So higher education goes across to Fianna Fáil. So what we know on the Fianna Fáil side is obviously Taoiseach Micheál Martin, public expenditure, then is Jack Chambers moving from finance. Darragh O'Brien, we're not quite abundantly 100% clear. We think housing, but that could also be transport, slight chances justice. Norma Foley thought to be moving to social protection and also rural affairs. So there's big balls of money there. And then beyond that, it gets a bit hazy in terms of who's coming in. Obviously, Stephen Donnelly's gone and Fianna Fáil have got extra cabinet positions. So we think that Charlie McConaughey is still there. Then also in the running be Dara Calleary, Mayo, James Brown and Wexford, James Lawless, Kildare, Thomas Byrne and Meath, Niall Collins and Limerick. Outside chance of Niamh Smith, not really thought all that likely. So Micheál Martin has kind of kept people guessing. So if there's a few surprises there, apologies, because we don't know what Micheál Martin is thinking. The big news last night, I suppose, was that Jim O'Callaghan's name emerging quite strongly, that he will be in cabinet and most likely going into the Department of Justice, which has now been beefed up because it takes on immigration. So there's a big job there. So that would mean, three big beasts then from Fianna Fáil, Darragh O'Brien, Jack Chambers and Jim O'Callaghan, all from Dublin area, all in big cabinet portfolios.
Yeah, you mentioned the Dublin area there, and how big a role does sort of geographical spread play in these decision making in these times when they're making the decision, and how much, I wonder, would Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil now, because perhaps maybe they've been guilty in the past of failing to do so, communicated with each other to try and get a good geographical spread? And does that work in Charlie McConaughey's favour if geography is also a factor?
Yeah, it does on both fronts. So they got caught out 5 years ago, but Micheál Martin and Leo Varadkar announced in their cabinet neither of them put anybody in from west of the Shannon. So it basically meant you went from Norma Foley and Tralee right up to Malin Head with no cabinet minister in sight. And they were both accused of basically neglecting the West and the Northwest as a result of that. So, that was addressed subsequently. It hasn't happened since. But, yeah, they will definitely be mindful of that. So geography and gender are very definite aspects that will be watched closely today. You had 6 outgoing female ministers between cabinet, full cabinet, and super junior ministers. 3 of those are gone, with Heather Humphreys retiring, Catherine Martin losing her seat, and Peter Hackett not being elected. So at the moment we're thinking 5. So maybe there will be 6. But again, to be criticism there if there's female representation in the new cabinet than there was in the outgoing one. And then on the geography side, yeah, you are kind of looking at Charlie McConaughey and Dara Calleary and going, well, definitely one of you is in. Will there be a second McDonough? With Heather Humphrey's department as well, you can argue, there would be no, if Charlie was dropped, there'd be no representation at all in the border counties up in the northwest. So that would present an obvious problem. So we'll see how that one pans out. On the Fine Gael side, we're not, obviously we're not expecting anybody from the northwest to be in cabinet. The west as well, there was some talk of Alan Dillon, there was some talk of Hildegard Knockin. It's not looking likely for either of them. Hildegard Knockin being a super junior minister. There's already 2 super junior ministers in Sean Kenny and Noel Grealish from Galway. So, there will be people from the west at the cabinet table, but not on the full cabinet portfolios. So, yeah, I think at the moment, if you were a betting man, you would be putting money on Charlie being in there. But you wouldn't be putting a lot on it when we're not quite clear where. But look, if it turns out Charlie McConaughey, Minister for Higher Education, you'll go, sure, we all knew that, but we didn't really, because we're not 100% certain in that regard. But it would be a surprise if he was dropped. Yeah.
Briefly, I mean, because I don't want to take too much of your time and not rushing you along. In terms of the opposition's opposition to independent government TDs, independent supporting government parties, temporarily, in inverted commas, having opposition speaking time, how do you think that's going to play out? The new Cam Corla, it's a tasty little matter to deal with very early on in the job.
Yeah, and this does go back to the argument about the appointment of the Count Corla. It's rare enough you get somebody who is so relatively inexperienced as a TD. Is only on a second term, tends to be kind of somebody who's been there for 20 odd years or so. Also, the appointment was quite clearly part of the coalition formation process in terms of being proposed by the regional independents and backed by Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. So there will be pressure on Rona Murphy there early on to show that she's unbiased. There is a very definite issue there, and it's you can point to parallels, but you can't really point to a precedent definitively where you can say, well, this was categorically done before. In this case, you're going to have 4 TDs who have signed up to an agreement with to support the government, have stated personally that they will be supporting the government over the course of the 5 years. One of them will have his own brother as a junior minister sitting on the government benches, and yet they'll be claiming they're part of the opposition. So it's not making a lot of sense. I know it's a technical row about speaking time and classification of independence, but it is kind of fundamental to our democracy, how you hold your government to account, the power of Parliament to do so. So it's a fight that the opposition parties should be having. I know people will say, well, you should be talking about housing, you should be talking about health. Your ability to talk about housing and health over the next 5 years will be shaped by the decisions that are taken today on issues like this. So there are very important democratic principles that will be teased out today.
Yeah, every democracy needs a government and a strong opposition. That's to hold them to account. It's an important role too. Fionnán, thanks so much for your time. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks, Rick. Cheers.
Bye-bye. Fionnán Sheehan there, Ireland editor at the Irish Independent. It's a huge day for Deputy Charles Ward of the 100% Redress Party. He's with us now. How are you feeling, Charles? Good morning to you. Deputy Ward, I should say.
How are you, Greg? Quick hello to all the listeners. Pardon the noise. I'm in the middle of Dublin, walking towards the Dail.
That's all right.
And it's crazy.
Yeah, it's going to take a little while for you to bed in, or maybe it won't. I suppose, is it a case of going in there today and taking it all in?
Not really, because I've been up here since the 6th of January. No holidays for me. I done my holidays. I had them. I'm grateful for them. It looks like the government will be elected today, and then they'll be going on holiday again to look at their portfolios. Why they can't be in cabinet and trying to get the country up and running is beyond me.
Obviously, you are a representative of the 100% Redress Party, and that really, as the party name would suggest, is the priority for you, I presume, over the next 4 years.
Of course it is, definitely. We have this opportunity now. The people of Donegal spoke. They want me to be their voice in Dublin. They need representation on this issue. And also, I'm about Donegal. It's all about Donegal, and it's all about 100% redress for the victims of defective concrete, Greg.
Darragh O'Brien, we still don't know if he's going to remain as housing minister or be moved to another portfolio. A tricky one in that, he is familiar with this. His fingerprints are all over this scheme. Would you prefer to be dealing with him as you drive for change, or would you prefer to see a new face that might have a different attitude?
Greg, really it doesn't really matter who I'm dealing with, because this is going to be different. What we've had is two schemes that have failed. We've had people in there that poured their heart and their soul out on the floor and seen their amendments shot down. Them days are over. It's a new phase. It's a new way of doing it. And it's going to be science-led. And we're not going to sit back and idly wait for the government to hand us out their crumbs. We're going to take it. We're going to follow science. And if be, we will go through the courts. And we will get justice for the defective homeowners.
We should know soon what the new IS 465 looks like. Are you optimistic that it will follow the science that we've already really seen from the likes of Professor Paul and what have you? Are you confident that IS 465 will be changed to include... So in other words, we stop this speculation of whether full demolition, outer leaves, whether foundations are in or out?
Yeah, look, you'd hope that they would follow science, because science will dictate that the same aggregate that is in the blocks is in the foundations. Everything has to go. That's a common sense approach. We haven't had common sense. What we've had is budget saving, remediation, downgraded people, and we're still having downgraded people, and they're writing to them telling them to wait for a technical review. Not good enough. It's shameful. And you've got a question. Ethical engineering needs to come into play here. And when IS 465 is published, I would hope that they would be following science.
What's the story in terms of your membership of any technical groups or what have you, so that you do get an opportunity, and it's not just a lottery, like you do get an opportunity to get up on your feet in the Dail and have your say? What's the story there?
Well, the story there is I'm with Catherine Conley, People Before Profit, and Seamus Healy and Brian Stanley. And there will be probably somebody else coming along later. But as I say, that's where I stand. I'll be speaking today about 6:30 or so, and I'll get my minutes and I will get my message across. I'll get my message across about Donegal, about the problems we have in Donegal, and also the defective concrete crisis. So what I'm saying to everybody listening is, I know you are stuck in traffic in Letterkenny. I know the hospital is having great difficulty. I know the fishing boats in Killybegs are tied up. I am the voice that will take these fights into the Dail, and they'll be listening, because they already are.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Thanks very much indeed. That's Deputy Charles Ward, 100% Redress Party, quite literally making his way to the Dail as we speak. Now, on TikTok, and a few things pop up here, there and everywhere, and some stuff comes up and you wonder, should you mention it or shouldn't you mention it? But look, if you don't mention these things and down the line you believe you should have, or maybe you could be platforming something that doesn't deserve it, I don't know. But a number of TikTok accounts have popped up, and they threaten violence against people in Letterkenny and businesses in Letterkenny. Really quite serious stuff, actually, that I'm surprised that the platform hasn't taken down. There's one account under the name of Letterkenny Menace, and she's posted a series of videos featuring Letterkenny. So the way TikTok works, or can work, for those who aren't aware, the person posting these videos is walking through Letterkenny, and then there's text across the video, so there's nothing verbalized as such. But the videos featuring Letterkenny express a dislike of the town and warning that something bad is coming. So the warnings include Letterkenny will know pain, be warned. Another video states, nothing will be left after we are done with this place. And a third states, as the person walks on the main street, just beat a man half to death for looking at me wrong, feels good. And as the poster in a fourth video approaches the ATU in Letterkenny, just approaching that sort of area, the video is of that area, but the text on top of that video reads, you Letterkenny people are pathetic, something bad is coming. So is this something we should even be mentioning or platforming? Is it something to be concerned about? I'm just conscious of the fact that sometimes things do happen. And then all of a sudden people say, oh, well, there was this video and that video. It's hard to know. I'm not sure if the Gardaí are taking an interest in this. I'm not sure if it's something the Gardaí are interested in. Is it just a bit of play acting? Is it just people acting the book? Or if a number of accounts have been made threatening direct violence against some businesses in Letterkenny, is it something that should be investigated or taken seriously? I don't know. Have you seen the videos? What do you think? 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number. 086 60 25,000. Or give us a call on 074 91 25,000.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
God bless. Hi everyone, David James here, and I'm really excited to be launching my brand new band in the Allingham Arms, Bundoran on Saturday the 1st of February with special guests Conor O'Donnell and Hugo Duncan. Come along for a great night of music as I launch my new band, Saturday the 1st of February, Allingham Arms, Bundoran.
Building a new home? Discover next generation comfort with the new award-winning Grant Airona R290 heat pump, delivering exceptional performance with quiet operation. The Grant Airona R290, heating for the future. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.ie.
Thinking of getting a new car in 2025? Why not get one in 2026 as well? Buy a selected 251 Nissan and we'll replace it with a 261 Nissan for free. For details about this and all our 251 offers, contact your local Nissan dealer or visit nissan.ie. Nissan. Defy ordinary. Terms and conditions apply.
That's the sound of someone sleeping soundly on a Restex mattress. Choose from the Donegal range. A Teelan, a Kinnigo, or a Mulroy mattress. It'll change the way you sleep forever. Restex beds, mountaintop Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
For all your pharmacy needs, visit the new Brennan's Pharmacy in Letterkenny, now open at the Fort Retail Park right across from the New Dunn Stores and Costa Coffee. With 600 free parking spaces in a convenient location, we're ready to help with all types of prescriptions, medicines, pharmacist advice, vaccinations, plus an extensive range of skincare, vitamins, gifts and much more. Can't make it in? We offer local home delivery within 10 kilometres of Letterkenny, perfect when getting into town is tough. So for all your pharmacy and prescription needs, trusted advice and friendly service, come to the new Brennan's Pharmacy Letterkenny. Call us at 074 970 8060. We're here for you.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
The time now is 9:38. So as we covered on the show yesterday, there are varying views, and we heard quite a few negative ones, it has to be said, over the decision by the Donegal Education Support Centre to be moved to Glenview Business Park in Letterkenny. It's relocating from Donegal Town. The CPD Centre aims to have a more centralised and accessible hub for educational development in Donegal. Alistair Scott is one of the landlords of the building in Donegal Town that will soon be vacated, it seems. Good morning, Alistair.
Good morning, Greg. How are we doing?
I'm doing okay, Alistair. Just out of interest, when were you notified and by whom that your tenants were moving out, relocating elsewhere?
Yeah, so just to, first of all, Greg, thanks for taking the time for us on the show. Well, we were first notified via email correspondence, and it was only as I assume, a knee-jerk reaction to a draft lease that I had sent over to the director for the forthcoming year. So that was sent. Yeah, that was sent on the 6th of December. So then on the 8th of December, we got a response from the director saying that they were going to considering relocating to a more centralized location. And that was how it was termed. I have all emails and everything to back this up. But yeah, at that state, it was only considering the relocation. And then on the 11th, had a further, the 11th of December 24, had a further email stating that no official decision had yet been made regarding the move. And then on the 17th, finally on the 17th of December, the director issued an email stating that the committee wishes to terminate the rental agreement for that period. And that basically it would be the first quarter of 2025, meaning that the lease would terminate then at the end of March 2025.
Right. So you took over as landlord in 2017. So just talk to me about, I suppose, the terms of the agreement. Has there been dramatic increases? Is the building in disrepair or not fit for purpose? I'm not saying that's the charge that's been made, Alistair, but I'm just trying to cover all bases, if you get where I'm coming from.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that. And well, we took the building over from Michael Breslin back in 2017. From then, the rent has not increased once since then. I can't comment on when it had increased prior to our takeover, but in the approaching 8 years now, we haven't. The rent has increased the same, and you know yourself with many commercial properties, that's almost unheard of with inflation and the like. So it seems very unfair that and it's probably the passive least resistance too, easy to use the landlord as a scapegoat. And it was only, thank God for Alison Pasquire who raised the issue to myself and contacted me. I told her to send on the communication because she was notified by the chairperson regarding these false allegations, where they alluded to not only rent increase this year, but it was termed once again the rent is increasing this year, where it had never been raised in the term that we've owned the building. And also with regards service charges, but the only increase was in 2023, where there was a query on the service charge, but that was relating to energy prices increase, which across the whole sector, the wholesale energy prices were up. So we demonstrated that, provided all invoices, and that was then paid. But with regards to any issues to the building, we haven't heard a peep out of anyone from the education centre, and always got on very well. Relations have been very good. So I was a bit shocked and disappointed to have these allegations put our way when we've done everything we could to facilitate having them in the current location.
Yeah, but presumably now, Alistair, you're seeing this as a fait accompli now and moving forward looking for new tenants. It doesn't look like it's a decision that's going to be reversed.
Yeah, well, it leaves us in a difficult position too, because that another complaint was not enough space, but that unit there it's over 6,000 square feet. And with such short notice too, us trying to fill that unit again by April is a mammoth task. But also we didn't want to move too fast in doing that in case there was some pushback and leave the education centre in a position where they don't have anywhere then if we had arranged a further tenant, because by all means we would be more than happy to continue our lease with them into the future.
I get you, but even I mean, even up here, you can see the money that's being invested because by coincidence we're close to, it seems, where the new location is and car parking facilities and what are being developed.
Yeah.
Alistair, I mean, obviously for you, I don't know. Does this mean you'll have to completely if renovate that space, because who's going to necessarily want 6,000 square foot or meters? Did you say? It's feet. Sorry, in the configuration that the education centre wanted. So from a business perspective, this is a big blow to you guys.
No, exactly. Well, unless something like a state body entity, there's no other smaller businesses that would need that kind of floor area. But the claims that this is supposed to be more cost effective, I'd really question that too, because I can't see how the rent that's currently being charged, I would say it's some of the most competitive rates per square feet in the country.
I'm not looking for that information, but I might acquire the information as it relates to the cost of the rent at the new building.
Yeah.
Do you want to divulge that, or would that be commercially sensitive in terms of future tenants?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Do you want to divulge what the rental agreement was? Just so down the line we can compare it to the new arrangement, or would that be commercially sensitive, for future tenants or just for your actual own private business?
Yeah. Well, it's not any big secret. It's 50,000 including VAT per year. So I would struggle to see how they could be more competitive. But I don't know. Like I say, I've no idea about the agreement in place with the new facility. But and like I said, I responded to the chairperson and on the back of Alison's email and said we have nothing to hide here, and open book policy. We have always been transparent, and if it is an exercise to look in what's the most cost-effective way forward, we've nothing to hide, and
All right, Alistair, big blow to the town, big blow to your business, no doubt. But we'll see how things go from here. I appreciate your time and laying it out from your perspective too. Always good to get all sides on something, so appreciate it greatly.
Okay, all right.
Take care, Alistair. That's Alistair Scott there, who is one of the landlords of the buildings in Donegal town, the ground floors, Pier 1 bar. Just for those of you who are wondering where it was located.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Something extraordinary is happening across Ireland. First-class rivals are being forged as first-class teammates. Inter-county foes as friends, and old opponents are choosing to have each other's backs. Top club and county players lining out in college and university jerseys to play, challenge and win together. Electric Ireland is proud to sponsor the Camogie Third Level Championships.
Más fer mór hu, ní hamháin go gcuir an tirsche leis an mhaol go méid drochimpiste good. Laidíonn siad a chumas tascanna chur a gríoch go héfach túil. Rud a laidíonn caighdeán de chuidibre agus de thárgiúlacht fud na ferme. Nuair a bhíonn tú spíonnta bíonn sé crua deirm. Feadh tuile eolais faoi chonas Dail le tiirse an bheirm hsa.ie/farm fatigue. Tugra de chuid rialtas na héireann.
The Hillary Hillary's big winter sale just got even better with an extra 10% off absolutely everything. That's on top of up to half price on hundreds of made-to-measure blinds, curtains and shutters. And right now, get free thermal lining on our favourite Roman blinds and curtains to help keep your home extra warm and cosy this winter. Our expert advisors ensure a perfect fit with measuring and fitting always included. Visit hillarys.ie to book your free in-home appointment today. But be quick, extra 10% off everything ends 3rd of February. Conditions apply.
Cooney's Home Interior's biggest ever winter sale is now on with massive reductions across all ranges of sofas, dining, mattresses and bedroom. Floor clearance on many items with incredible savings to be had. Call in and grab that bargain. You won't be disappointed at Cooney's Home Interior's Letterkenny Retail Park.
Fast track your interest with PTSB's Interest First Fixed Term Deposit Account. The only deposit account in Ireland that gives you your interest upfront within the first month of opening your account. And with the peace of mind that your savings are secure for the future, it all comes together for a banking experience that's altogether more human. PTSB. Book an appointment today. Personal customers only. Early withdrawal and closure fees apply. Minimum deposit of €5,000 required. Terms and conditions apply. Permanent TSB PLC, trading as PTSB, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
A new year, a new floor. At Floorit, we offer quality solid, semi-solid and laminate click vinyl wood flooring together with a vast choice of parquet herringbone flooring, all fitted and tailored to your needs. Call in today and see for yourself the fantastic offers available this January. Call Floorit today on 087 161 7008 or visit floorit.ie.
Mr. Blue Sky, please tell us why.
The Lotto jackpot is an estimated €4 million. Play responsibly in-store, in-app or at lottery.ie. The National Lottery. It could be you.
The Renault Symbioz E-Tech Full Hybrid is a study in balance in an all-new family compact SUV, much like a symphony. The solar-based sunroof illuminates or darkens, and the smart infotainment system has Google built in. It's a soaring crescendo of a family hybrid. The new Renault Symbioz from 0% APR or €1,500 trade-in bonus. Finance is made under a hire purchase agreement. T's and C's apply. MFS, subject to lending criteria. Offers are limited. See Renault.ie.
Kick off your career in 2025 with NWRC. Our Kickstart IT programme beginning February 3rd will fast track you into a fantastic career in IT. Don't miss out on our Level 4 electric vehicle course starting February 13th. Your chance to work in the ever-evolving EV industry. So are you ready for 2025? Upskill at NWRC and unlock your career potential. See NWRC's website for further details on these programmes and courses.
Looking for fresh, local, convenient shopping? Maple Stores have you covered across Donegal. From Burtonport to Ballyliffin, Carrigart to Castlefin, your local store is always nearby. Proudly Donegal owned, we're also in Moville, Milford, Derrybeg and Falcarra. From apples to AdBlue, we have everything you need whenever you need it, whilst proudly supporting local suppliers. Check out your local Maple Store on Facebook for weekly offers and promotions. Oh, and we also sell fuel too. Maple Stores. Fresh, convenient, local.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Join us on March 8th for our special occasion preview with the sparkling afternoon tea in Harvey's Point. Tickets go on sale Friday 31st of January at 7 p.m. Available from mcelhennys.com.
So mist and fog will lift from most areas today, but may be stubborn to clear from some places. It'll be mostly dry, but there'll be a few isolated showers and some sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 4 to 7 degrees in light southwest or variable winds. Now, Met Éireann has issued a storm warning. Storm Owen has been an orange countrywide weather warning. Well, I'm looking at 6 counties here and they're white, but anyway, it is what it is. The 26 counties are under an orange warning from Met Éireann. And this means that there'll be gale force southerly winds becoming westerly. They'll bring severe, damaging and destructive gusts of up to 130 kilometres per hour widely. with even higher gusts for a time. It's very rare that I've seen a warning, and this is not to amplify it, whereby it's not region specific, the whole country orange. So it's a big storm that's going to pass over all of us. The potential impacts: fallen trees, damage to power lines and power outages, structural damage, very difficult travelling conditions, disruption and cancellations to transport, and also some wave overtopping may be likely. So the car parks and the areas around the county that may see overtopping during high tides. Now, it comes into effect at 2 a.m. on Friday and runs until 5 p.m. on Friday. So it is mostly in the early hours, but through the day as well. It is a status orange wind warning. So there's yellow, there's orange, and then there is red at this stage. It is orange. A caller says if it steps like a goose and honks like a goose and it backs the neo-Nazis, then it's probably a Nazi. Absolutely disgusting. Folks are trying to blame this on autism. Absolutely disgusting. Americans voted for the Nazi. This is what they get. Well, no one voted for Elon Musk, but they're getting him anyway. This is the story of his gesture, which he says he was throwing his heart out to the crowd, which bears an uncanny resemblance to a Nazi salute. And then what you see is you see pictures that to try and offset it. The left, in inverted commas, his supporters then post pictures of other politicians with their hand outstretched, but there's no context to that. I mean, people are often putting their hand out and waving to the crowd and what have you. I mean, this man slapped his chest and thrust his arm out. If it was accidental, it was a remarkable accident because it looks, for all intents and purposes, like a Nazi salute. And it's not the same as a picture being taken with your arm outstretched, for crying out loud. Bishop Marion Edgar Budd delivered a sermon for the ages yesterday to Trump and Vance. Typically, it took a woman to stand up to his face and speak up for our LGBTQ children. Well, Donald Trump says she's not very good at her job and is demanding an apology from her, believe it or not. Well, actually, why wouldn't you believe it? At the top of Glencar at Killyclud, the way the traffic lights are set up, it's an accident waiting to happen. It is a crossroads and there's only one set of lights working. That came in a little earlier on today. We were talking about Irish, the speaking of Irish in school. 3% of students sought and were awarded an exemption from Irish in the year 2000. Since then, it's gone up to 13%. Some people concerned that those that there are people that are just trying to have it handy at school and are seeking exemptions and being awarded them, and they're concerned at the impact this could have on the language into the future. But a caller says a family member was diagnosed with dyslexia at 10 years. He was learning Irish and Spanish. The family agreed to let him continue, and he went on to do his learning and did both and passed them. And that's great. Everyone's different, and even when someone's diagnosed with something, their experience can be very different to someone else. We had Peadar Tóibín, the leader of Aontú, on the show yesterday, defending him being part of a technical group that is also including government independents who will be sitting in the opposition. This caller said, I had great respect for Peadar Tóibín, thought he was an honest, smart and articulate politician, but to support Michael Lowry and his group that are wanting their cake and eat it is a step too far for me. We'll never give Aontú any support again. Now, he was clear to say he's not supporting them. He's part of a technical group and they're all sort of politically independent. And if Aontú were to leave that group, it wouldn't in any way impact on their speaking rights. Just to be fair, that's what he said in relation to that. Right, loads coming up on the programme, including a preview of a very, very important football match at the weekend for a very special young team from Inishowen. That's coming up after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Discover the ultimate escape at the Spa at Orchids, the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran, nominated for Spa Experience of the Year 2024 by the Irish Hotel Awards. Indulge in an oriental bamboo massage, reflexology, or choose from our signature therapies, skin glowing facials and invigorating body treatments. Couples can unwind together in twin treatment rooms or share a peaceful moment in the secret garden with outdoor hot tub. The Spa at Orchids, open daily. To buy a gift voucher or reserve your appointment, visit holyroodhotel.com.
There's so much to celebrate in January, like Vodafone's January Super Savings, with an iPhone 15 on us when you switch to Red Unlimited, so you can do New Year, new iPhone. Get this and more amazing offers in-store and online now. Vodafone. Together we can.
Subject to eligibility, availability and switching to a 24-month Red Unlimited plan from €60 per month by January 31st, 2025. Each April, the monthly plan price will increase by €3.50. For full terms, see vodafone.ie/terms.
The biggest sale ever has been extended at Easy Living Furniture. Absolutely everything is reduced across all of our departments, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattresses and home accessories, with added free delivery on all orders over £499. This weekend only. Shop the biggest sale ever at Easy Living Furniture, Crescent Link Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry. Don't miss out. This sale ends soon.
How does one define grand? Acceptable. Grand. Not too much trouble. That's grand. Say no more. Grand so. It's time to redefine grand and change perceptions. The new Opel Grandland. It's grand. New Opel Grandland. Available in hybrid and electric. Go grand. Test drive the new Opel Grandland at Heron Auto Opel. See heronopel.ie for details.
The Vacant Property Refurbishment Grant provides grants of up to €84,000 to refurbish properties that have been vacant for 2 years or more and built on or before the end of 2007. Donegal County Council are hosting an information event in the Creeslough Community Hub on Thursday the 23rd of January. Drop in any time between 3 and 8 p.m. to learn more about the grants available.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. The Dáil convenes in an hour's time to elect the new government. Micheál Martin will return as Taoiseach a little over 2 years after handing the role over to Fine Gael. The political correspondent Sean Defoe has been looking at how the day will run.
So this morning the Dáil meets at 11. There'll be speeches nominating the various candidates for Taoiseach, a proposer and a seconder. Then there'll be the vote. The first vote will be for Micheál Martin. He's going to win that vote now that the government has formed, now that the Fine Gael and Fianna Fáil parties have got the support of the regional independents. He'll go and see President Michael D. Higgins, where he'll get his seal of office, and then he comes back and the nervous wait really begins then for prospective ministers, because they can be called at any time. They don't necessarily know it's coming. They don't necessarily know who else is in or who else is out, and they'll be called to Micheál Martin's office to be appointed to this government.
Well, the future of Donegal Deputy Charlie McConalogue is uncertain as far as Cabinet is concerned. It's widely reported the agriculture, food and marine portfolio will go to a Fine Gael TD, possibly Martin Hayden. There's been some speculation that Minister McConalogue will not return to Cabinet, although today's Irish Independent reports there was a substantial group from Donegal at the special Ardèche at the weekend, and they lobbied incoming Taoiseach Micheál Martin strongly on his behalf. There also has been some suggestion that he may be in the running to be the government chief whip. All will become clear later today. 100% Redress TD Charles Ward has pledged to be a TD for the whole of Donegal and to bring the issues facing people in the county to the fore. Deputy Ward is in a technical group with People Before Profit and independent deputies Catherine Connolly, Seamus Healy and Brian Stanley. Well, on today's 9 till Noon show a short time ago, he told Greg Hughes he'll be speaking during the debate on the new cabinet this evening. And while he will highlight the defective concrete crisis, he will also be raising other pressing local issues.
I'll be speaking today about 6:30 or so, and I will get my message across. I'll get my message across about the problems we have in Donegal and also the defective concrete crisis. What I'm saying to everybody listening is, I know you are stuck in traffic in Letterkenny. I know the hospital is having great difficulty. I know the fishing boats in Killybegs are tied up. I am the voice that will take these fights into the Dáil, and they'll be listening, because they already are.
A status orange wind warning has been issued for the entire country as Storm Eowyn makes its way toward Ireland. Met Éireann says Friday morning will see severe, damaging and destructive winds with gusts of up to 130 kilometres widely across the country. Even higher gusts can be expected for a time. The orange wind warning comes into effect at 2 o'clock on Friday morning and will last until 5 on Friday evening, with the potential for fallen trees, damage to power lines and power outages. Structural damage and very difficult travelling conditions can also be affected and expected. Carla Weather's Alan O'Reilly says the storm could be as bad as Storm Ophelia in 2017.
But this looks like the most significant storm I've seen on weather forecasting models since probably Ophelia. Now, I'm not saying it'll be as bad as Ophelia for some areas, but it could be. There is a possibility that it will be close to that, where the strongest of the winds come into the southwest or the west. Obviously, as this storm hasn't even developed fully yet, tracking it and the exact track will change. So I'd imagine Met Éireann will be updating and possibly upgrading.
2 men have been arrested in Derry in connection with a serious assault of a man in Lifford. It happened at a house on Conningborough Road on Monday morning. The man in his 20s was airlifted to the Royal Victoria Hospital in Belfast for treatment. His father, who is in his 60s, was also injured in the incident. Residents and businesses in the vicinity of Mount Charles are warned they may experience a water outage today as repairs get underway to a burst water main. Mount Charles Lower, Drumore and Drumgorman are also set to be affected. The works are due to be complete by 3 o'clock this afternoon. And Google Maps is being accused of allowing reckless drivers go undetected. It's being asked by road safety campaigners to remove the alerts for random checkpoints and speed traps. Google is defending the alerts, saying they allow drivers make safer decisions on the road. However, Green Party councillor Oliver Moran says the notification of Garda checkpoints in particular needs to end.
Some motors have a long tradition of flashing lights to tell you of a speed trap ahead. But look, the only person you're actually tipping off are people who are speeding, people who are putting yourself and other people at danger. But the second one, that was telling me of a Garda checkpoint ahead. You have no idea in the case of a Garda checkpoint what the purpose of the checkpoint is, who they're looking for, or even if they do pull someone over for a different offence, what they're going to discover.
Well, the forecast mostly dry with a few isolated showers and some sunny spells. There may be some lingering fog in some parts of the county as well after a particularly foggy start to the morning in places. Top temperatures this afternoon, they're set to hit around about 4 to 7 degrees Celsius in light southwest or variable winds. And that's Highland Radio News. We're back with news headlines again at 11 o'clock. Check all of the latest news on our website, highlandradio.com. But for now, from the news team, good morning.
The Obituary notices this Wednesday morning, January 22nd. The death has taken place of Padraig Deeney, late of 27 Ballyrory Road, Craigban, Claudy, County Derry, reposing at his late home today from 11 a.m. to 10 p.m. Funeral tomorrow morning, leaving at 20 past 10 for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in St Joseph's Church, Craigban. Interment immediately afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Funeral can be viewed on McLaughlin's Funeral Director's YouTube channel. Family flowers only, donations if wished in lieu of flowers, to Mary Curie, care of McLaughlin Funeral Directors. The death has occurred of John Kelly Glebe Stranorler, reposing at his late residence today from 12 noon until 9 o'clock. Funeral leaving his late residence tomorrow morning at 10:30 for Requiem Mass in the Church of Mary Immaculate Stranorler at 11 a.m. Interment in Drumbo Cemetery. The Requiem Mass will be streamed live via the parish webcam. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu of flowers, if so desired, to St Joseph's Community Hospital, Stranorler, care of any family member. Family time on the morning of the funeral, please. The death has taken place of John McCrossan, College Farm Road, Glencar, Letterkenny. John's remains are reposing at his home, private to family only, please. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:30, going to St Eunan's Cathedral, Letterkenny. For 11 a.m, Requiem Mass, which can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. Interment afterwards in Conwall Cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu, if desired, to the Alzheimer's Society, Donegal branch, care of any family member. The death has taken place of Eileen Campbell, née Porter, Craitland, St Johnston, formerly of Brandywell Avenue, Derry. Eileen's remains are reposing at her home. Funeral leaving there this morning at 10:20, going to St Bathan's Church, St Johnston, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock. Interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. The death occurred on December 13th, 2024, of Mary May Josephine Kelly, née Moss, Barnes, London, formerly of Cronolahi, Killygordon, County Donegal. Reposing at the home of her brother Michael Moss, Mina Goland Crossroads, Killygordon. Funeral from there this morning at 10:15 for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock in St Patrick's Church, Crossroads, Killygordon. Interment afterwards in the adjoining churchyard. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
VHI Healthcare gives you and your family more. Get access to VHI Paediatric Clinic, urgent care, online doctor, and much more. Search VHI today and get 25% off kids on a range of plans. VHI, because your health means everything. See vhi.ie for range of plans. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to VHI Insurance DAC for health insurance in Ireland.
You're very welcome into the second hour of the 9 till noon show. Thanks to Donald there for the news and obituary notices. Some of your comments coming in as we head towards our next feature. Can you warn drivers travelling on the Milford to Kilmac Road? There's dense fog in both directions. Yeah, I went through some dense fog today, actually. You kind of come upon it, and it is dense. Hi, Greg. Looking for some advice with a delicate situation. How does one deal with a member of staff who has extremely poor personal hygiene? So much so, the odour is now lingering in the workplace. As you can appreciate, it's a difficult subject to approach. Any assistance would be greatly appreciated. Let's throw that out to the universe. I would be familiar with a situation once whereby there was someone in a working environment, and it wasn't me, and it was no one I worked with, right? But it was someone that I was associated with, and they were around this person quite a bit, and there's quite a strong smell of body odor, and this person mentioned it to them, and they were very grateful. They didn't have that self-awareness. They didn't realize. And maybe they didn't have anyone in their life to sort of advise them in this way or other. I'm not sure that would work in a work environment. But what do you do in that situation, folks? I'm going to read this and throw it out into the 9 till noon show universe and get your suggestions on this. How does one deal with a member of staff who has extremely poor personal hygiene? So much so, the odour is now lingering in the workplace. As you can appreciate, it's a difficult subject to approach. Any assistance would be greatly appreciated. What should they do? 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. Give us a call on 07491 25,000. Elon Musk did it twice, Greg. No way it was an accident, which, with no skin in the game, I disagree with some of what is happening in America. Others parts of it you go, no, I don't know. So I don't have any political skin in the game. I'm neither blue or red. I'm neither really pro or anti, because firstly, it doesn't directly affect me, and secondly, suck it and see. Let's see what the next 4 years hold. But it looked very dodge. Morning, Greg. Just heard Charles Ward. He's going to be speaking in the Dail later. I just hope he doesn't keep saying we are the forgotten county. Donegal has an awful lot going for it. We've almost full employment with great employers. I'm not contradicting you, okay, by the way. I'm going to read the text in its entirety, but we have the second highest level of unemployment in the country. The country as a whole has full employment. We, though, have the second highest rate of unemployment in the whole country. But I'll read on. I'm not contradicting you, just pointing out. We've got great schools, university status, veterinary college. Roads are as good as other rural counties. 2 airports, Donegal and Derry close by. Great hotels and great restaurants. We've got brilliant young people who don't like to hear that we are classed as always crying and moaning. The only downside is our hospital, and because we keep on saying that Donegal is forgotten about, we are, in my opinion, putting doctor, nurses and other services from coming up here. Regarding defective concrete block houses, yes, there is a problem, but there are more and more houses being completed to a state-of-the-art finish. I think we should talk our county up instead of down. Very valid point of view. A lot of it, some people might disagree with parts of it. I was having a conversation last evening, and we were talking about young people around us able to head off to college and able to afford it from normal families, if I could put it like that in inverted commas. It wouldn't have been possible in my day. We simply couldn't have afforded it, but similar families now can. So as I say, there are positives out there, and we're very much prepared to talk about those as well. Via email, good luck to Charles Ward. We might have a better chance of having something done on the defective blocks. As for ministerial representation for the West, this is related to underrepresentation for the West in the Dail. By proportional representation of votes, Dublin still has 6 TDs too many, and rural constituencies of Munster and Connacht, Ulster each have 3 seats too few. A rebalance of 12 seats to rural seats would change some attitudes in Leinster House and get us some more ministers. Donegal, Kerry and Clare should each have 1 seat more. The head of the Electoral Commission has publicly identified this as a problem, but no politician, not even our Donegal TDs, are interested. That comes in from Liam. Thank you for that. What was I going to say in relation to that? I'll come back to it in a moment. What I was going to say is, regardless of where the TDs are, and decentralisation was talked about previously, if people, and they've done this in Britain, it's not a new idea, if the people that make the decisions are based in Dublin, and the civil servants that make those decisions are for the most part based in Dublin, it's very hard to see beyond Dublin and the Pale. I think, and even rural TDs that have gone to Dublin, you can kind of see after a while that they become Dublin institutionalised potentially. So I think until we see some more of the civil service out in the regions, I'm not really sure that we'll see massive change until that happens. But anyway, that's just a conversational point that people can agree or disagree with. As it relates to the relocation of the Educational Support Centre, nothing central about Glenview Business Park. Parking is limited. I work here currently in a unit. My commute coming up via Illustrin takes at least 15 minutes sitting in traffic. It's a crazy move. Electrical work going on, plasterers. The preparations are well underway. Well, listen, they've ended their lease in Donegal Town, and obviously preparatory works are ongoing and taking place. Right. We're going to be previewing Niamh Padraig's big weekend, potentially very historic, of course, even more so historic. We've got business news, and we're going to be getting a definitive view of the weather for our region, okay? And we're not going to exaggerate, we're not going to underestimate. We're going to try and bring you exactly what to expect. So if you have any plans, you can either go ahead with them or adjust them or whatever it might be. It's just a reality, that you talk about weather, and for some people might say, well, that's going to discourage business, or that's going to discourage people doing this, that, and none. But at the same time, if you didn't mention it, and God forbid a tree came down and injured a family of 4 or something, and you'd be criticised then for not talking about it. So we're going to outline what weather is to be expected, and then you, the great people, can make up your minds what to do with that info.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Wednesday, the 22nd of January. You're playing on the blue sheet for the daily prize of €400. The reference number is S18. It's game number 4. The numbers are 17, 72, 28, 75, 1, 44, 78, 32, 10, and finally 29. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Here, Siobhan, listen to this email. Felicitations and unalloyed joy to you. Could you help with a small inconvenience? I possess $32 million in an account belonging to my father, the Prince. Oh, the Prince, Siobhan. We need an honest person to bank this amount for us. Oh, we're in the money.
Some things are too good to be true. The Specsavers Too Good deal isn't. Get 2 pairs of glasses for €100. Include single vision lenses to the same prescription. Conditions apply. Ask in store for details.
In the money.
Are you building, rebuilding, or simply improving your home? Come along to Donegal's premier gathering of home building professionals in the Northwest. Donegal New Build and Rebuild 2025 will take place in the Mount Errigal Hotel, Letterkenny, February 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Admission is free to this 3-day event. This ad is sponsored by Spratt Fireplaces.
McCabe's Pharmacy, Ireland's largest and most patient-focused pharmacy brand, is celebrating their newly rebranded pharmacy in Letterkenny, formerly Lloyd's Pharmacy on Pierce Road. From this Thursday the 23rd to Sunday the 26th, you can visit McCabe's Pharmacy for a great weekend of fun, exclusive promotions and more. Win fantastic hampers and spot prizes, get personalised health and wellness advice, and enjoy buy one get one half price offers on a top range of vitamins and supplements. It's all happening at the new McCabe's Pharmacy on Pierce Road, Letterkenny. You're amazing. Let's keep you that way.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Now, a remarkable sporting story has been ongoing and hopefully will reach the right conclusion this weekend. That's the story of Niamh Padraig, East Cahin. They're taking on Caharua of Galway this Saturday in an All-Ireland Junior Club Football Championship final after coming through in a penalty shootout against Cork's Kilmurray. And it's a big achievement for any club, but it's a huge achievement for Niamh Padraig. And I'm delighted to welcome into the studio Daniel McCauley, the manager. Good morning, Daniel.
Good morning, Greg.
Thanks so much for joining us. And Dermot Keaveney, team captain. Good morning to you, Dermot.
Good morning, Greg.
Is it pinch yourself stuff, Dermot, that you're, in an All-Ireland week?
Yeah, you kind of have to take a step back and realise where you are and what you have achieved. For such a young club, we were formed in 1989, and to win our first county title was amazing this year. But to go on in Ulster and now being in All Ireland is a thing of dreams. Just
what does the silverware cabinet look like ahead of the winning the county championship?
Yeah, well, that's amazing. That's our first ever county title. So
there's dust.
There's just dust. I don't even have a cabinet, so we'll have to go out and look for one now to get it filled.
Yeah. Daniel, from your perspective, you can do what you do, but the players also have to respond to it. What clicked? What happened this year?
The journey probably started beginning of 2022 season, Greg, when I came on, took the boys over myself, and it was we kind of reset ourselves back then, and we says, look lads, we've got the talent here and we've got the tools, we need to knuckle down and put something together here. And in fairness to Dermot and the rest of the lads, they bought into what we took to them, and ever since then we've been on a great journey, and we've got a promotion to Division 2 for the first time last season, and we were beating Arley in penalties in the semi-final of the championship last year. And a lot of teams that would have derailed, but it kind of motivated our boys. We come back training November 2023 last year, and that's where actually this season's going on now through 3 calendar years. And the boys have been brilliant since that. They knuckled down, and we were successful in Division 2. We stayed mid-table, a few big results, and the confidence just took forward going on the championship then.
Yeah, so it's like a 3-year overnight success.
That's it.
Sort of a thing. Yeah. We're all jumping on the bandwagon now, but it's been steaming for the last 3 seasons. And history being made all over the place. It's the first time a club from Donegal has played in an All-Ireland final in Croke Park. And that's special in any scenario. But as you mentioned, Dermot, for such a young club as well, and it puts me in mind too of the Downing ladies had a great run, and they're also a young club as well. So it's interesting, isn't it, that such great inroads have been made?
Yeah, it definitely is. I think the average age of the starting team is 22, 23. It just shows how good the boys are this year. And it's kind of, I always say, I think maybe from the 2010, 2016 when we lost the county finals, there was a lot of work done at grassroots, and you have to give credit to the coaches back then. But fair play to the boys, they've stepped up, and there's something really special about this group of lads.
How big's the squad?
There's at least 31, isn't there?
31, yeah.
31 players,
which is astonishing, really, isn't it? In a relatively small area to keep players connected to the club and engaged with it.
Yeah, and they're all really talented, and there's boys fighting for places, which is great. And maybe other years you didn't have that, and or this year it's really worked for us.
I want to continue to look forward to the game, but I also want to take a moment to remember Evan Craig. He passed away just 24 years of age, having battled cancer. That was just last October. A devastating blow to a club, to teammates, to friends, and obviously to his family and community. But he's on this journey with you.
Yeah. Like as Dan always says, like we're like one big family, and to lose Evan was heartbreaking. Like it's like losing a family member. It was like losing a brother. It was really, really tough at the time, but we're always thinking about him every game, and his jersey hangs in the dressing room before we go out, like, and the boys always have him in our memory.
Yeah, Daniel, a very tough time for the whole club.
For the whole parish and community, Greg, it was awful. Like, Evan was he's such a part of our group. From a young lad, we've all known him, and the whole community loved him. And when he took his sickness, his last game last year was against Maville when we were beating penalties, and like I remember a text message when we come back last November. He texted me to say he was in the hospital. He had a stomach problem, and he did his exams he was qualified to be an electrician, and a couple of weeks later. So he says, before Christmas I'll get back to the training, Dan, but if this year to get over me first. And I says, oh well, keep well at it, we'll see you then. And as it transpired then, like, we got word then a few weeks later what it was actually the cancer he had. And Evan was such an optimist. He says, when I text him, how are you feeling? He says, it's some sort of cancer, but like I'll be back soon, hopefully. And I says, look, your place is here, we'll keep in touch, and hopefully by the time the championship starts, you'll be back and at it with us, and you'll be over this year, and we'll be flying. And I had transpired then as the season went on, we knew Evan was gradually getting worse, Greg. And as the championship started, I'd heard, but he wasn't doing well.
Yeah.
And I sent him a message to say, look, Evan, the championship starting this weekend, and our full focus in October is to get you to climb the steps to lift the Dr. McGuire Cup with us, or Dr. McCluskey Cup. And he says, thank you very much, Dan. I really, really appreciate that there. And it come then our last group game against Maville. It was Evan's last game. He came down to watch us, and we knew he wasn't well. And we had a break between the Maville and the Neve Breed game, the quarter final. And sadly, that weekend passed. Then Evan sadly passed away. He lost his battle, and that just devastated the whole squad, Greg. Because as I said earlier on, these lads here, they're a young group of players.
Yeah.
And this was their friend and their brother, and their
many probably the first experience of loss.
That's it.
Close loss when you're a young person.
It was their first experience, Greg, and that's what we worried about, and we just had to manage that as best we could. And the boys have been brilliant to the whole community. Like, they have brought this shining light to the Uskaheen parish, and like they're just running on adrenaline here now, and we're using Evan's memory.
Well, that's it. You
strength.
see, there's two ways this could approach, and I think we all know what Evan would have wanted, right? He would have wanted the guys to go on and kick ass.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
So it can either break a team down, or he remains the 15th or 16th man, and I think that's what you're doing here. He's up there with you on Saturday.
Oh, he is, and there was a last Sunday there was a sequence of events with someone who put to me with their number 13 missed the first penalty, and Evan's number was 13, and on the scoreboard it showed we won 3-1 in penalties, but we were the away team, so it showed 13 in the scoreboard. So all we signs that got there, we tick for it, like, when Evan's looking over us, like, when Orange stressed after, he was praying when he saved the 2 penalties, and Evan, make me guess the right way, and that's the way we treat Evan. We've his jersey up, and we have a boat. I got a boat through at the start of this journey. Like, there's Rocky Shores, half of it, and Cam Shores on one side of it, and all the players signed it at the start of this 2 years ago, and Evan's signature's very prominent on it. So, like, we all looked at that, and we've got our wristbands with EC13 on it, and we talk about them, and that's the best way to go forward.
You know what, and as well, Dermot, it helps the other lads as well to deal with it, and to okay, that's a wonderful. It's incredibly sad, but it's wonderful the way you have dealt with it. I can only imagine the comfort that brings to his family and the community more generally in regards to this. Dermot, it's a big deal playing in Croke Park, isn't it? Like, I mean, none of you have done this before.
No, that's it. Like, the only kind of, I'd say probably Keelan McColgan with the Donegal squad has played in Croke Park, but for the rest of us, it's all a first time, and it's really exciting, and it's kind of the thing you maybe dream of as a kid, to play in Croke Park, and you always kind of think you want to play with your county, and to do it with your club, it's just really, really special.
Yeah, because I talk to a lot of GAA players, and you talk about the highlights, and often it's the club stuff, unless they've really kicked ass as in the county panel. But it's often the club stuff that means the most.
It's the boys you grow up with, the boys you go out with. It's your family that you're with. I think that makes it a wee bit more special. And if you ever did it with county, but hopefully we can do it now.
Right, so how do you prepare for the opposition, Daniel? I have to call you Daniel because your mum's listening. Everyone else can call you Dan. I'm going to stick with Daniel. How do you prepare for this game? Do you know much about Ankaharua? Because sometimes, at junior level or what have you, it can be hard to find out information and read form and that kind of stuff. What do we know about the opposition, and how do you set up for them?
Well, thankfully now you've got Connacht GA TV and Sport Tina G covered the All-Ireland semi-final, so we've got the videos of that there, and I have a few contacts within the Galway who I've spoke to this week, and they've given us a few hints and tips on them, but it's really hard to prepare for it, Greg, right, because when you see the video evidence and taking second-hand information, you're kind of just isolating their stronger players, and then you're just relying on your own performance on the day as well, and preparing our boys as best we can, and do what we've been doing all year, and keeping the standards high and the level of performance high, and hopefully that's enough to get us over the line.
You have to do what you do well and let them worry about it.
Yes, that's it. We've enough threat. Like, we've got likes of Keelan McColgan and Kevin Lynch, who are established county players, but we've a full panel of very, very good players. And like I said to the boys at training last night, if we're on our A game and we worry about our game and play the way we know we can play, we've as good a chance as them, if not better.
Big pitch, does that make a difference?
I think it will suit us better. We've a young profile of squad, and they're
move the ball around easier,
move the ball fast, so they do. And Caharua are a mixed bag. I know they've suffered relegation the last 2 years from senior, intermediate down to junior, and they've got an older group and then they've got a younger group. They're kind of nothing really in between,
Yeah. So yours is more cohesive than
yes.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
Dermot, from your perspective, how do you prepare for a game like this? The training's done. The miles are done,
Yeah, sometimes like playing at Croke Park, like you watched Errol Keir another day, and just that first half just didn't happen for them, and then they left it too late to come back in the second half. So you just got to keep the boys calm as well.
Well, that's it. You don't want the occasion to overpower the situation. It is only grass at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, you have to kind of take it as another game. Just go out there and play football, what we've been doing all year. And I know it might be hard, but try and blank out the rest of it, the stadium, the fans. Just focus was inside the line.
Yeah, it's probably, Daniel, obviously a good start's really important. It's which team settles best, and
that's it. Yeah. Nick, the aim would be to be in the game at half time, Greg.
Yeah.
Be within touching distance as well, or be 2 or 3 ahead or 2 or 3 behind. If we're sitting at that on Saturday afternoon in Croke Park, I'll be mighty happy, because I always feel we come good in the second half, as was seen in the semi-final, because the boys' fitness levels are really, really good, and that's what got us over the line then. So if we're within touching distance at half time, I'll be going a happy man at half time.
Yeah, because it's been a bit of a stop-start sort of end to this campaign, hasn't it?
It has. We had a couple of trips to London there, and it has been. It's been sore in the legs and
sore in the pocket.
Hey, that's another thing. See the supporters we had over in London who've travelled twice. The support in general has been unbelievable, and they're going down in their busloads on Saturday again. So it is sore in the pocket, and we really appreciate that end of it.
Yeah, but Dermot, it's the joy too that you're bringing. I mean, there's nothing like it, because there's people, who perhaps haven't gone to a game for a while that are going to be, or haven't, and they're going to be caught up in this story, in this journey. I mean, it doesn't get much bigger than this for a community, does it?
No, it doesn't. Like, if you're down near the parish at all, you can see the flags and the bunting and the kids, the excitement of them in the schools, and it's unreal. Like, it's really great to see it.
All right, I don't get many notes because it's not my style, but the best one of all is, we have won. We've never won anything ever.
Well, that's
well, I mean, obviously up until this season. It's just a brilliant story.
That's true. And we were happy enough with the first one, Greg, and then when we pushed on for the second one, and we'll just go for everything this year. But the young kids coming through in the club, they think this is great. And but when me and Dermot were growing up, the Muff senior team, they were struggling. They're down in the doldrums, but these wee kids now are looking up to these boys as heroes.
That's astonishing.
I had a wee boy of 6 in the car with me last week. I was leaving him home, and he says he supports Niamh Padraig in Portugal. And I go to him, who's your favourite players? And he goes, Ronaldo and Kevin Lynch, the two best players in the world. So like, that's the vibe that the boys have created about, it's great.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Yeah, and Dermot, this is what it's all about, isn't it? The hard days of training, the trips to London for no reason at all.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily very pleasant playing conditions, and it's going to be a bit blowy on Saturday as well.
Yeah, it's going to be tough.
But it all comes down to this. I mean, what an amazing position to find yourselves in.
Oh yeah, it's amazing. Like as I say, you have to stand back and kind of pinch yourself, and it's an All Ireland final in Croke Park, and just hopefully we don't get too carried away and just kind of treat it as another football game, and hopefully bring that trophy back to Niamh Patrick.
Yep, sounds like we've just got a preview of the team talk in the dressing room.
Well, at this stage there should be no motivation needed. The boys know what's the job that
of course it all comes down to this. And you would never underestimate the opposition, but I think you can say with a bit of confidence, Daniel, you're a younger, fitter, stronger team. If you played to your best, you could be lifting that cup on Saturday. I mean, that's the reality. I don't think that's been boastful. It's just...
I know, the realistic
up to the lads.
Like the form we've been on, Greg, we've been fantastic. When we went to London there and we beat the British champions, and we come last week and beat Kilmurray. I think we're actually favourites for the whole competition after they beat the Kerry champions. So when you beat the Munster champions, you're in a good place, and so proud of the boys that way. Yeah.
Try and avoid penalties, Dermot, will you?
Yeah.
'Cause I don't know what it's like on the pitch, but
I think
we can do without it.
Yeah, I'm still only recovering from the semi-final. It's very nerve-wracking. It's not good for the heart.
No, I would say not. All right, lads, anything you want to add before we go? I mean, obviously, look at local businesses and particularly the local community have really, got on board with all of this as well.
That's one thing I'd want to stress. The local community, local businesses, the people in general have been fantastic, Greg, and we can't thank them enough. Like, and even the local GA clubs, Donegal GA clubs have been excellent with us. When the Donegal Piro, Sinead Breen, has come on board, like, she's kind of become an adopted Muff person now, and she's been a real helping hand to us with all this PR end of it.
Brilliant.
We're not used to it, Greg, and down in Muff here at the minute. And
we've never won anything ever.
No, so like the helping hand to everybody, and there's three schools in our parish. We've Gleneedy, Whitecastle, and Skulnave Breed, like, and they have been excellent, like, and the support from the kids has been brilliant.
Like. Full strength for Saturday?
Yeah. So far so good. Jonathan Toys, carrying a wee niggle, but we think he'll be all right. He'll get over, so everyone's good to go.
Don't trip over going out here, Dermot.
I'll try not to.
Please, we're worried about that. Yeah. All right, listen, brilliant stuff. Oisin Kelly and Brendan Devaney are going down to cover the game here. Safe journey down for all of you. There'll be a big crowd heading down, and hopefully it's going to be a really short journey back up the way too as All Ireland champions.
Here's hoping.
Unbelievable stuff, isn't it? All right, Dermot Keaveney, team manager, team captain, I beg your pardon. Best of luck to you and the rest of the lads. We really think you're going to do it on Saturday, and we can't wait to hopefully congratulate you if you do. I'm cursing it all left, right and centre. I'm trying to be optimistic here. Dan McCauley, the manager, thank you very much as well. Thanks so much for travelling down. Safe travels down on Saturday to you and the team and all of the supporters. And we really look forward to seeing how he's get on. Thanks so much.
Thanks very much, Greg.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
The attic, the extension on the extension, the good sitting room, the naughty step, the morally ambiguous lounge. Various nooks, assorted crannies, under the bed with the monsters. Get uninterrupted Wi-Fi in every room guaranteed, or we'll give you €150 back with our Wi-Fi guarantee. Now available free with 1 gig and 2 gig broadband. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Subject to location and availability. Minimum download speeds of 30 meg in every room or €150 one-off credit. Exclusions and legal stuff applies. See virginmedia.ie.
Make more meals for less with Dunnes Stores, where you'll save on ingredients for a delicious one-pan roast chicken and feed 4 for less than €5. That's a Bord Bia quality assured whole small Irish chicken, just €3. Roasted with a 49-cent sweet potato and freshly frozen broccoli florets, just €1.05 for 1 kilo. All from the Dunnes Stores range. Plus, save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more.
Calling all golfers. Kick off the new year in style at McGurk's Golf, 40 Retail Park, Letterkenny. Score incredible savings on clothing, golf clubs and accessories from top brands like TaylorMade, Under Armour, Adidas and Callaway. Swing by today and check out our latest New Year deals that will have you looking and playing your best. McGurk's Golf, best brands, best prices.
At Uisce Éireann, we're continuing to upgrade Ireland's water network to ensure a clean, safe and reliable water supply. When repair and maintenance work is required in your area, we want to make sure homes and businesses are informed. That's why we have a new free text alert service providing real-time updates for issues lasting more than 4 hours. Sign up with your mobile number and air code at water.ie. Uisce Éireann, delivering water services for Ireland.
The Irish press is buzzing about the all-new, all-electric Hyundai Inster. The Irish Times says Hyundai has pulled off a bit of a masterstroke. CompleteCar.ie writes about its eye-catching exterior design and a well-equipped interior. While RTE says other manufacturers should take note. The all-new Inster, starting from €18,995.
Your local dealer is Divers Hyundai, Canal Road, Letterkenny. Call 9122 600.
Okay, and if you want to pass on your best wishes to Niamh Podrick, feel free to send them in to us now. We'll pass them on. 086 60 25,000. Right, Alan O'Reilly of Carlow Weather is with me. Alan, thank you so much for your time. It's greatly appreciated.
No problem at all. Thanks for having me.
Right, we've got the countrywide now orange wind warning for this named storm. Talk to us about it, because it formed quite interestingly. We got really strong early indications with weather in the United States as to what may be to come for us here.
Yes, so that cold weather in the US has powered up the jet stream, which is now going to rapidly develop and strengthen a low pressure system as it crosses the Atlantic. And then as it exits the jet stream, it's going to even power up more and come towards us Thursday night into Friday morning. And it's going to bring some very strong gusts, but it's also going to bring some heavy rain and actually some snow first, especially in the northwest. So many parts of Donegal are likely to see sleet and snowfall on Thursday night. So by about 2 a.m. Friday morning, it looks like heavy snow falling in many parts. Now, that will cause issues Thursday night and early Friday morning, but it will turn to rain, so that it will be a snow to rain event. But then the strong winds come. So the weather warnings have been upgraded to red for some parts of the southwest and west in the last hour. At the moment, Donegal is an orange warning, but some of the weather charts do show gusts in excess of 130 kilometres an hour for Donegal, especially obviously near the coast.
Yeah, so there potentially could be overtopping, and people listening in those areas will know where that's likely to happen. With gusts that strong, it's inevitable that the power infrastructure, at least in part, is going to be impacted by that, and also difficult driving conditions. Will the majority of that be in the hours of darkness, or will those conditions persist through daylight hours on Friday, do you think?
So the snow will be mainly at darkness, but the wind will be daylight. So Donegal, you're likely seeing the worst of the winds through kind of around the middle of the day, around noon, but really strong in the morning and strongest probably around noon or an hour or two either side of it. And then only very slowly easing off on Friday evening. There was going to be a lot of power outages, and the good news is Saturday's not looking too bad, but the bad news is we have more wet and windy weather on Sunday, which could hamper crews in terms of repairing services. So that is something I'm concerned about in terms of we have more weather systems coming after this one. But at the moment, the track does bring the worst of it into the west coast, which would save Donegal from the worst of it, but still a significant storm. Like, the worst areas are likely to see the worst storm since Ophelia in 2017. That's the level we're looking at.
Wow, and that is where the status red warning has been put in place. But people, these coloured warnings are a blunt enough instrument as well too. And sometimes people see an orange warning and think there should be no warning at all. But also too, we did see with some of the snow and the weather up here in the northwest, Alan, and the likes of yourself and others had flagged it, where it was an orange warning and the conditions were much worse than that. So it's a blunt instrument, and people have to think for themselves in relation to that. We can give people the info and they can make their own calls on that then, I think.
Yeah, unfortunately, this county by county warning system is very blunt. It needs to be more granular, and obviously Donegal, for whatever reason, often seems to miss out. Like a lot of people were talking about, it should have been a red warning in parts down here in the south, where you would have seen that kind of conditions in Donegal on a regular basis. So it is obviously different. And again, the UK may obviously look after the warnings on the other side of the border. At the moment, they have yellow warnings out, but it is likely that the UK Met Office could well upgrade that as well. And we could well see weather warnings upgraded for more counties. So keep up to date with the warnings. But if you don't need to be out and about Friday morning, Friday early afternoon, the best thing is stay indoors, let it blow over, and talk about it afterwards.
Yeah, because it's an early enough red warning because they're pretty certain, you'd be certain Clare, Coke, Kerry, Limerick are going to get a hammering. That doesn't mean an orange warning will persist for the rest of the country. As you say, you know, they will update it as they see fit.
Yeah, and it could well be that if this tracks a little bit further north than as forecast at the moment, that could bring more of Donegal into the firing line in terms of the worst of it. So it is something to monitor. Obviously, you know, we're still, 24 hours out from getting a really good handle on the exact track of this, and a little bit move north or south can make a big difference to where sees the worst impacts.
But finally, from what you've seen, certain parts of the country are going to get a hammering like they haven't had for quite some time. That's the type of storm that you're seeing here on the models.
Yes, we're seeing charts showing winds of over 180 kilometers an hour on parts of the west coast, worst case scenario. So those are not wind speeds we would very often see. I'm seeing charts, to be honest with you, that I can't remember seeing before.
Okay, well, we'll be careful and see what the crack is. Thanks very much. Alan O'Reilly of Carlow Weather there, keeping you up to date as to what to expect Thursday night into Friday morning. A big well done to the Muff team, or the East Gaheen team. So sad about the young player. God rest him. Best of luck on Saturday to you all. Saturday's such a massive day for us parents who stand on the sidelines week in and week out. Best of luck to everyone. Yes, indeed. A caller says 20 million euros spent on the RTE weather. Look at their website. It's as basic as you get, arrows all over the show. Check out Zoom Weather online, they say. So schools will be closed if orange then. Schools, I don't know what Friday morning is going to be like. We don't know what it's going to be like up here. On a red warning, they're closed. On an orange warning, I think there's discretion from the schools. I think I would not like to make that call because you're a principal, right? You're not Alan O'Reilly or one of the other forecasters. You know, you're hearing the warnings of orange weather warnings, potential snow overnight, and you're expected to make a call at 7 or 8 o'clock on Thursday evening, and you're kind of damned if you do and damned if you don't, because it's a great inconvenience for parents, potentially, if you close the school and everything's all right. Do you get where I'm coming from? But all we can do is provide the info that's out there, and hopefully that helps to inform decisions.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from 40,000 to 600,000 euro with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Are you looking for a powerful, high-performance laptop? Think green and save big with Ben Sweeney Euronics. Discover refurbished Lenovo ThinkPads that look and feel like new with Windows 11 pre-installed and a rock-solid 3-year warranty for total peace of mind. Why pay full price when you can save up to 70% and do your part for the planet by choosing sustainable tech? Find yours today at Ben Sweeney Euronics, Port Road, Letterkenny, and the shopping centre, Dunlow.
Here at Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville and Bridgend, we stock recliner and fabric suites, dining tables and chairs, beds and mattresses, curtains and rugs, and don't forget our large flooring department stocking carpet, vinyl and laminate flooring. We can't be beaten on price or quality and give a weekly delivery service to Donegal, Derry and Strabane, not to be matched. So call in today to Braden's House to Home Interiors, Moville or Bridgend for all your home furnishing needs.
January's a big deal in the Virgin Media Playhouse. See how great value plays out for you. Get €100 off your bill. Our Wi-Fi guarantee included for free with our fastest broadband speeds and no activation fee. That's uninterrupted Wi-Fi guaranteed everywhere in your home. Switch today at virginmedia.ie. Virgin Media. It's playtime.
Subject to location and availability. T's and C's apply. New customers only. Offer applies to 1 gig and 2 gig broadband. €100 bill credit applied automatically to customers' accounts on April 1st, 2025. The Wi-Fi guarantee ensures minimum download speeds of 30 meg in every room. Offer ends February 5th, 2025.
Do you live in Donegal? Fancy upskilling without breaking the bank? Big Red Cloud, in collaboration with KW and Donegal Education and Training Boards, is offering a series of free, yes free, training programs in bookkeeping and payroll. All courses are available online with flexible learning schedules at times that suit you. Big Red Cloud enables learners with no prior knowledge to upskill in payroll and accounts. Sign up today at bigredcloud.com/training. Free, certified and completed at your own pace. Brought to you by Donegal ETB.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Join us on March 8th for our special occasion preview with the sparkling afternoon tea in Harvey's Point. Tickets go on sale Friday 31st of January at 7 p.m. Available from mcelhenneys.com.
Okay, well, we did a lot on the weather there, but I'll just pop open the weather for today. Mist and fog will lift from most areas, but may be stubborn to clear from places. It'll be mostly dry, but there'll be a few isolated showers, some sunny spells, temperatures 4 to 7 degrees. And I can't believe it that we're potentially back talking about a reduction in fire cover in South Donegal again. I don't know. I think 20, 25 years ago, I was talking and doing interviews about Ballyshannon and Bundoran fire stations and amalgamations and keeping them individual and the amount of tenders. It's been going on for years and years. We seem to be back here again. Kieran Drummond is the station officer at Ballyshannon. Good morning, Kieran. Thanks for your time today.
Morning. How are you?
So where has the question marks over the future of fire stations in the south of the county come from, Kieran?
I suppose, as you're well aware, and you've alluded to it there, you've been reporting on this for a number of years now. I've 35 years done within the fire service, and it's been going on quite a while. And I suppose really it stemmed from the buildings that we are currently operating from not being fit for purpose going forward. That's really what the issue is. I mean, equipment has got bigger. I suppose the council have provided us with extra vehicles and extra staff, and look, that's where it's coming from. Really, it's a case of the facilities that we have. We need them to remain there, but we just need them upgraded. It's as simple as that.
And is it back on the table for one fire station covering both Ballyshannon and Bundoran? Is that back on the table again?
Well, it seems to be back on the table again. I suppose in 2018 there was a study done from an independent company that was taken on to do a study and give the chief fire officer different options. One of the options the chief fire officer was given was to retain both stations, to relocate them to their optimum locations and retain what we have. And at the end of the day, the fire station isn't our workplace. Our workplace is on the road. Our workplace is on the N50. Our workplace is in Cashellard. The fire station essentially is somewhere to park your vehicle and hang up your gear. We talk about state-of-the-art stations and we talk about all kinds of things. A station is basically somewhere to house the equipment and the staff and leave yourself in a state of readiness.
Kieran, is your preference that both stations are retained and upgraded?
It's our preference. It's the preference. I'll tell you, it's the preference of all staff that both stations are retained and upgraded. It's the preference of the people in South Donegal, and it's the preference of our elected representatives. So much so that at a full council meeting in 2018 in Lifford, every councillor at the time rejected this proposal of a merged station. Now, a merged station, if you understand in the fire service, can't actually work. It has to be a station closure, a station in one town and the other to close. And that's, I suppose, a big issue because the terms of reference or your terms of your employment, you have to live and work within 2.5 kilometres of your fire station. So going forward, a station in one town inevitably means a station closure. So that's not on the cards.
But just in relation to that, Kieran, and just to play devil's advocate, I mean, obviously, maybe some of the fire service might fall outside of those geographical limitations, which would be very unfortunate. But in terms of the operational, if I can, and I don't mean this with any disrespect, not talk necessarily about staffing at the moment, but in terms of response times and the the efficiency of the service, given the proximity of Ballyshannon and Bundoran, would you be able to provide the same level of service if one of these stations were to close an investment in another? Like, do you believe it would if that were the route they choose to go down, would it potentially mean a risk to life, or is this more about the potential disruption to staff?
No, this is never disrupting the staff at all. This is about retaining the services we have for the people in South Donegal. And yes, by closing the station, you obviously increase turnout times to incidents in that immediate area where you lose the station. So at the end of the day, we can't have a situation where we're looking at investing in the fire service, and as a result of our investment, we end up with slower turnout times, therefore putting life at risk. I mean, you know, you look at all your ads and all your statistics through Fire Safety Week. You know, 3 minutes in a smoke-filled building, that's it. You know, time is of the essence with the fire service. That's the bottom line. And any development that's going to slow down the turnout or leave people, you know, waiting longer for a fire service isn't going to be accepted by anybody. I mean, throughout Ireland, there are stations in these proximities in different counties, and they have been replaced. Like, this is new ground. Nobody has ever looked to close a station to develop the fire service.
It seems pretty unique.
I mean,
you mentioned
and we're very lucky. Like,
sorry, go ahead, Kieran.
We're very lucky in Donegal. I mean, there's counties in Ireland and they're struggling to get staff and keeping staff in these state-of-the-art stations, as they call them. We're lucky. What you need to do is we need to retain what we have. That's the bottom line. And I mean, nothing short of that is going to be accepted by elected representatives or the people of this area.
Yeah, one of those elected representatives in that area is Councillor Jimmy Brogan, who's with us now as well. And it's not just Ballyshannon and Bundoran. You're also concerned over the future of Glencolmkill Fire Station, Councillor Brogan. So what's going on? How do we know these conversations are happening? Where are they happening? And why do we not have more information on what's being considered?
Hello, Greg. Well, listen, it's like I say, the fire station Glencolmkill is under threat. It's not potentially under threat of closing. The problem is that it needs upgrading. It needs a bit of work done. Nothing that's going to cost mass. It doesn't, like the fire. I spoke to the firemen in Glen, and they. Now, listen, if they built a brand new station, they'd be happy enough. But what they want is the station that they have upgraded and kept up with the times. Like, you know, like issues like the door, the roller door, and the floor, and bits and pieces. You know, the changing facilities, and you know, just some training facilities. You know, like it's we're not talking about a massive investment, but this investment doesn't seem to be coming. The council, and it's not. I'm not blaming the council per se. The council have to look for funding for these things, and the council reckon the funding won't come. You know, they won't come to build a new station in Ballyshannon and Bundoran, and won't come to build a new station or to upgrade the station in Glencolmkill, like, you know. So the station in Glencolmkill, like, you know, the firemen had a 40-year celebration there recently, like, you know. So them firemen have put in the hours, put in the work over the years, training and doing their job, you know. And
I mean, one of the reasons
that fire station is kept.
Yeah, one of the reasons being floated for the potential closure of Glencolmkill is a low call-out rate. Now, I can't get my head around that, because you only need one major fire, and that decision could come back to bite whoever made it very, very sharply.
Yeah, that's exactly my point. It only takes one fire, one call out to be an absolute disaster. You know, because they reckon they can be covered from Killybegs. Now, no fault to Killybegs. They have a great station, great fire tenders there too, but the problem is if Killybegs was away somewhere else, you know, Donegal Town's the next fire station, and that's 45 minutes away, 50 minutes away.
Like, I don't want to be, you know, I don't want to be that guy, but the bike shed would sort out the Glen station.
And then,
you know what I mean? Like, I know it's such an obvious thing to say.
We have 14 billion or something of Apple money that's spent in one-off projects, you know. This is a perfect one-off project. There's a couple of one-off projects there we can spend, you know, I don't know many, this should have been done years and years ago, when money went some distance. I don't know what it would cost now to build a fire station, but I'm sure it costs a good bit of money. But listen, we have 14 billion of Apple money that needs to be spent in one-off projects.
Yeah, but this feels like a conversation, this does feel like a conversation that you might have during, you know, 2010, 2011, 2012, where there was no money and no availability, and big decisions had to be made for right or wrong. We're not in that space now. Jimmy, who's discussing this? Who's making the call? When are we going to find out what the future is?
Listen, just at the early stages of the discussion at the minute, like, you know, of applying for funding. So, you know, that's up to the, you know, I guess that's the council executive and stuff, you know. But listen, it's not them. They told us that they would build all the stations if they had the money, but they can't get the money. You know, they're dependent on the department then to give them the money.
Well, that's what we have TDs for as well, presumably.
Listen, we have two government.
You know.
We have 2 government TDs here in our constituency, and in fact, Ballyshannon has 3 government TDs now in their constituency. Like, you know, so that's where the money needs to come from. You know, the council can only spend what they get, but they need to get the money from government. You know, so the government need to be put under pressure. You know, we have a brand new government coming up, or whenever they decide to get themselves sorted out. You know,
all right.
And we need to put pressure on them to make sure that the funding, any funding that's looked for these stations is delivered. You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we're not a silo here. Of course, the council would do everything if they had the money, so that's where we need the national representation. Kieran, this needs to be put to bed from your perspective, I'm sure, once and for all. You know, let's get a plan. Let's see not necessarily what's financially best, but what's best for getting you guys out in an emergency. And you're clearly of the view, from a Ballyshannon Bundoran perspective, upgrade or replace the 2 fire stations that are there.
Absolutely, Greg. Absolutely. We need to retain what we have. We need to relocate them to their optimum locations and build the facilities to house the staff we have and to house the equipment we have, and keep the level of cover we have in this county for the people of this area, and avoid putting lives at risk. That's what needs to be done, Greg. Yeah.
Kieran Drummond, Station Officer at Ballyshannon, Councillor Jimmy Brogan, Independent, both of you, thank you very much indeed.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
I've just had the Eclipse Cinemas experience. Wow, they truly have taken a night at the movies to a whole new level. Amazing recliner chairs, director's lounge VIP rooms, pizza and hot food served to your seat. Have a glass of wine and enjoy the film on the big screen. Try it for yourself at Eclipse Cinemas Bundoran and Lifford Strabane, where the stars shine brighter. By the way, the pizzas are amazing. You can book your seat anytime at eclipsecinemas.ie.
Transform your home with Hegarty's Home Interiors in Buncrana. Discover a wide selection of stylish furniture and decor to create your perfect space. Our expert team offers personalised advice to match your style and budget. Visit us on Main Street, Buncrana. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. or visit hegartyshomeinteriors.ie. Hegarty's Home Interiors, making homes beautiful since 1946.
If you have a cough, flu, sore throat, or if you're just feeling miserable, don't suffer through it. At McGee's Chemist, we have the expertise to help you feel better. Our pharmacists and experienced staff will recommend the most effective over-the-counter solutions and give advice on how best to manage your symptoms. At McGee's, we have a wide range of trusted brands and products to help you recover. McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny. For healthcare help and advice you can always trust.
If you need an eye test, look no further than Louis Walsh Opticians. Letterkenny's longest established opticians are delighted to welcome patients new and old to their state-of-the-art practice in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Their latest technology includes a 3D OCT retinal camera, which assesses the health of your eyes in minutes. Private, medical card and PRSI patients welcome. Call 91 21000 to arrange your eye test.
Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny. Your vision, our focus.
Jimmer Tashiv Colin Ferreter and Shaw, Biggie Lynn, Ihi Kidanya, and Charlton Shaw, Lahai Rulia Bulia, Nuraveas, Seamus Gibson, August Ruri O'Friel, Emma Hodgerta, Bio Studio. Rulia Bulia, Sharkagia Art, Ihi Kidanya, Biggie Lynn.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com.
Coming up in the next hour, we'll catch up on all of your comments coming in so far this morning. Chris is in with us with some business news and much more besides. But at 11 o'clock, let's get a news update, and we welcome back into studio Donald Kavanagh.
Thank you, Greg. Good morning. The Dáil is reconvening at the moment to elect a new government. Micheál Martin will return as Taoiseach a little over 2 years after handing the role over to Fine Gael. This evening, after receiving his seal of office from the President, he'll announce his new cabinet. There'll then be a 2-week recess before the Dáil reconvenes on February 5th. 100% Redress TD Charles Ward has pledged to be a representative for the whole of Donegal, saying he will bring the issues facing people to the fore. Deputy Ward is in a technical group with People Before Profit and independent deputies Catherine Connolly, Seamus Healy and Brian Stanley. On today's 9 till noon show, he confirmed he'll be speaking during the debate on the new cabinet this evening, and while he will be highlighting the defective concrete crisis, he will also raise other local issues. The number of drivers using the Leck Road outside Letterkenny in a bid to avoid traffic congestion outside the town is a major concern and safety issue. That's according to Letterkenny Milford MD Coherloch Councillor Jerry McMonigal. A number of members had motions before a meeting this week calling for safety measures on the road, particularly on the stretch between Leck Graveyard and the Model Creche. Councillor McMonigal says the increased frequency of cars on the road is adding to the danger, and a traffic island should be developed to facilitate staff and parents going in and out of the creche. Met Éireann has upgraded its advisory to red for counties Clare, Cork, Kerry and Limerick ahead of Storm Éowyn, which is on the way. It means a risk to life, potentially dangerous travelling conditions, unsafe working conditions, widespread power outages, structural damage and wave overtopping. The red warning comes into effect at 3 a.m. on Friday and lasts until 10 a.m. on Friday. The rest of the country will be under an orange alert from 2 a.m. until 5 p.m. on Friday. Gusts of 130 kilometres an hour and higher can be expected. And a lack of skilled labour will be the filter that slows down the delivery of more housing in Donegal. That's the belief of Councillor Michael McBride, who this week has called for the establishment of a task force that would include all relevant agencies to address the issue. Officials say the council has engaged with the North West Tertiary Education Cluster with a view toward them developing a skills academy. However, Councillor McBride says others, including the council and the Construction Industry Federation, need to be involved. Meanwhile, Donegal County Council's latest special housing plenary meeting is getting underway around now. And we're back with headlines again at 12 noon.
Donald, thanks very much indeed. Back after a really short break.
Here's how a current account from An Post Money makes your money matter more. Make spending a way to save with tools like Roundup. Make light work of budgeting with An Post Money Manager. Make saving for whatever you're after easier with savings jars. The list goes on. Make your money matter more with a current account from An Post Money. Open an account on the An Post Money app or at your local post office today. T's and C's apply. An Post is authorised by the Minister for Finance to provide payment services and is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland in the provision of such services.
Yes, we're just watching here as the 35th Dail sits. Pierce Doherty is just walking in there to take his seat, just ahead of 2 rows ahead of Padraig McLaughlin. They look like they're about to get underway. Wishni Padraig Muff or Iskaheen, all the best from Michael, Mary, Breslin, Ardra. Greg, our house has never been as excited as it is for this weekend's game. It's such a buzz for everyone. That's what sport can do, you see. That's why I love GEA. Less likely, I find I'm less likely to watch soccer now. I just find it less. Firstly, soccer supporters, I'll call soccer because we're talking about two different footballs, right? They're always moaning. Always moaning about the team, the manager, the money, the opposition, how they performed. It's never really just about talking about the game, talking about the actual match, how the match went, who played well. It's always about what's wrong, what they do different. And I still like the raw soccer, in inverted commas, but all the conversation around it, find it really unbearable now at this point. So proud of the amazing group of young men and management of Niamh Padraig. They have given the parish a great lift and brought unity. Best of luck on Saturday from proud parents, and I'm sure you're very proud. Here's a proud sibling. I'd like to wish my 3 brothers, Daniel, Joseph, Noran, Macaulay, all the best for the All-Ireland final on Saturday. I've always been a proud big sister. They're just superstars in our eyes. Lots of love and luck from Claire, John and crew, especially their number 1 and dedicated fan, Clodagh. They're bringing absolute joy into the community. I am of no doubt. And what a family sets up there to have 3 brothers with an interest in it. Remarkable stuff. Right, just to remind you, of course, you will get full match commentary of that game here on Highland Radio. The expert team of Oisín Kelly and also Brendan Devaney. Brendan's name's not coming to me as quickly as it should. Oisin Kelly and Brendan Devaney will be on hand for that. And then they're going to fleet over and cover Donegal's game as well, which is really quite international almost, except it's all within the country, so to speak. Right, now let's move on the show. It's Wednesday, so we're going to do Wellness Wednesday, and we're going to discuss catfishing with Dr. Maylie Coyne, chartered clinical psychologist and best-selling author. Good morning, Doctor. Thanks so much for your time.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. Right now, I'm going to be honest with you. I consume a ton of media, and I'm normally across everything. The one gap in my knowledge is the two Johnnies and their podcast. They've released a third part of their infamous GEA catfish saga. The Tipperary duo originally brought the story of the GEA catfish to the nation's attentions in May 22, which revealed a serial catfisher was in contact with over 30 men, including podcast host Johnny B. O'Brien, known as Johnny B, to the two Johnnies faithful. Right, so, I mean, listen, they've shone a spotlight on this. It's not unique. What is catfishing?
Catfishing is creating a fictitious online persona to deceive others, often for romance, financial gain, emotional manipulation, or identity theft. So you use stolen photos and fabricated information, and you create stories to build trust and intimacy with another person. And usually there's a purpose to that. I think the reason most people, I think deep insecurity lies at the heart of what I was discussing with the two Johnnies. But obviously catfishing can also be there as romance, scams, financial fraud, all that kind of thing as well.
So in the first instance there, can it be a case that a person feels, whether they're right or wrong, that they wouldn't get the attention or adoration that they might get if they presented who they actually are to somebody? So to get that emotion that it must feel like, if you can, they're prepared to take on the identity of somebody else.
Yeah, I think you're totally right there. I think it's kind of like there's a fear of rejection of your real self, I believe. So if you have childhood traumas, you might have had an insecure attachment with one of your parents. Something has deeply affected your sense of self-worth and self-esteem growing up. And I do believe that lies at the heart of this. And we all have a need as human beings to be loved. We all need to be loved. So how to gain love, that's kind of, you might fear the rejection of your real self, so you fabricate other selves in order to gain the attention, the validation, the excitement, the control, whatever it is you're looking for, without actually presenting your real self. Because if you presented your real self, you feel so deeply unworthy that you feel you'd be rejected anyway.
Yeah, so that's in, perhaps less common circumstances where it gets deep and heavy, proper catfishing. But just the psychological elements you talk of there, and do you think sometimes maybe more people are guilty of it on a lower level, i.e., only portray what's positive, or even maybe sometimes to pretend stuff on social media, or only post images of ourselves with favourable filters? I'm not saying there's anything nefarious in that, but does that, in sort of the same psychological space, that maybe people are afraid to put themselves out there for fear of judgment or rejection?
We all are. I think that's a human thing. We all judge, and we all fear being judged for our real and authentic selves. And, social media, we put out our highlight reels. We're not talking necessarily about the fight we had with our partner. We're talking about this wonderful holiday we're on, or whatever, this amazing thing we bought, or, it's not. And then the way we portray ourselves with how we look, you're not going to share a photo that's less than flattering on social media. So you're not presenting your real self. But I really want to kind of, communicate to anybody out there who's been affected by, catfishing. And I think catfishing, that whole term, really minimizes the damage that this can cause to the victim. And in the case of the GAA catfish, and I won't necessarily talk about that particular case, but in the case of somebody who literally and we're not just talking 30 people, we're talking possibly over 200 or more than that who have been affected in that particular case. But you have this engineering of a life where you're spending inordinate amounts of time creating this false self and all these other false people. You're luring the victim in, and that person is becoming more and more vulnerable as you build on a relationship. They might even send you intimate images. There is a case, I've watched a documentary on Netflix and listened to the podcast. It's called Bobby. I don't know if you've heard of that one, where it was coercive control. So this woman thought she was in a relationship with a man who lived abroad, and that's why she wasn't seeing him. And every time they were about to see each other, he said that he was sick and couldn't. But then she figured out after 10 years that it was her first cousin who lived down the road, who she had a relationship with, like a friendly relationship with. And it was coercive control in that her whole life had been taken over by by Bobby, who she thought, and he was saying to her, he so-called, was trying to kind of take over her whole day, stay all night on the phone with her. And really she felt completely manipulated. So it's a true manipulation. And it's not, I know it comes in different, you can have like a lower level and you can have higher level. Obviously the GA catfish is very high level. But the problem is we have a lack of policing when it comes to something like this. And, because we should be able to consent to things and we shouldn't, this coercive control, this manipulation is unacceptable at a very deep level.
And I think too, in terms of the policing of it, that is one thing and certainly is a point. But the two Johnnies, I suppose, in what they're doing too and speaking publicly, I would imagine there's a great deal of underreporting of this as well, because, do you want to sit down in front of a guard, as sympathetic as they may be, and tell them a story that you perhaps feel in their head they're going, who would fall for that? Why could anyone be so foolish? I'm not for a second saying that is it, but I think there's probably a lot of victims of this too, that once it's all found out, and even if they've lost money or what have you, that they keep it to themselves.
Yeah, and I think it's not just with guards. I mean, obviously with guards, to be able to tell your story and to feel like it's going to be taken to the next level is a real fear. But there's such a shame involved in even telling a friend or family member, this happened to me. And this was kind of, the interactions that we had. And people like Johnny would have said that. And I'm so glad that men have come out, and like maybe it might be an easier thing perhaps for women to talk amongst themselves about something like that. I don't know. That's just my impression, perhaps, that vulnerability comes that little bit easier. But I think, for anybody out there who feels, a shame or embarrassed about this, please don't, because you're a human being. And I know there's many that might think, oh, I'd never be scammed like that. Well, if you're a human being, you have a need to be loved. You are a human being. And if you have a need to be loved and validated, this can happen to you. And it can happen to anybody.
So when we talk about catfishing, we've covered on this programme and spoken to people who've been the victims of, say, for instance, someone purporting to be someone else in a dating app and receiving nudes and then threatening to release those nudes unless they send them money. We've had cases of romance fraud, as it's called. Is that all catfishing, or is catfishing more about an emotional deception?
I think it depends. I mean, catfishing does include the romance scams, financial fraud, identity theft, emotional manipulation, control, revenge against a particular target. You might actually target a particular individual, social engineering. So all of those are incorporated into the word catfishing. That's the grand word above it. But sometimes people also just refer to catfishing as the emotional manipulation without necessarily the romance or the financial fraud. So really it depends on what definition you're looking at.
A caller says, it's amazing how many men and women are taken in by these people online. Surely this is a very good example of why online life is fake and people need to get to grips with the real world and the online world. But the bottom line is firstly, obviously the catfisher, normally they're very good at what they do. But also, no matter how strong you are, it could be after a relationship breakup, it could be loneliness, it could be whatever. There are times we are emotionally vulnerable. And these people are very good at exploiting that. And when you need that company, when you need that shoulder to lean on, or when you need that relationship, these people are there to exploit that. So I would never judge people that harshly as our last texter there, because as I say, particularly with romance fraud, I think the people know who to go for and they know exactly what to say and when to say it. And we respond to certain things. Let me know, forget how my day was. I want to hear about your day. You're looking amazing. All this kind of stuff. And we've all been, I think, vulnerable at a point that we could fall for that.
And the thing is, they cast a wide net. There are, offices full of people engaged in romance scams, and they're literally writing texts and emails to like 1,000 people and seeing who bites back. So you're right. There are periods in our lives where we're particularly vulnerable. I think because we're humans, we have this need to be loved anyway. But that person who just wrote in said, we have to get into the real life. We have to be real about how young people conduct. A lot of people meet online nowadays, and a lot of people conduct full-fledged relationships with friends. I have loads of friends online that I may have met once or twice.
I think
never.
That last texter might have had a Nokia 5110 at some point. The reality is for a generation, people are born into this, and there is no differentiation as such in their minds. They're one and the same. So, I mean, obviously, people who might be inclined to catfish, often, as you've quite rightly pointed out, they need help themselves too. They need to seek help as to why they are doing that to other people. But what do you look out for, Doctor? I'd be very cynical and skeptical by default, right? But if someone engages with you online, what do you look out for? How can you best protect yourself from being catfished?
I think, in terms of the catfishing, the relationship catfishing, I think if a profile seems overly perfect or idealized or too good to be true, if you feel like this, I think trusting your gut instinct, kind of like, if this just doesn't feel quite right, I would be talking to friends and family and, about, I met this person online, and just have a little bit of a discussion with them. If somebody's reluctant to meet for a video chat, after, an amount of time of texting, if there's inconsistencies in their stories or information provided, if they don't have verification on their platforms. I mean, you can report these things to the relevant platforms.
But very quickly, they'll want to take you off a dating site. That's, you have some protections chatting on a dating site. A lot of these scammers want to get it off into a WhatsApp environment or what very quickly.
And if they're asking you for stuff quite quickly, if they're asking you for a photo, if they're asking you for money, if they're making up, or not making up, you won't know. But if they start saying, "Oh, I'm sick, I can't meet you because I'm sick," or whatever it is, and that's happened repeatedly.
Yeah, and of course, most recently we had that, was it a Brad Pitt catfish story, which was really quite bizarre. So that's artificial intelligence for you. You see, at this time now, my concern is at this time now, we're talking about people scanning social media and what have you. Not in the not too distant future, you can do it right now. People will be able to create images that match the conversation and text, which is going to be a worrying development in this regard. Dr. Malik Coyne, thanks so much for your time. Take care of yourself.
Thank you so much.
Have a lovely day. Yep. So, it's easy to say, how could you fall for that? But people do, because we can be emotionally vulnerable at times and let our guards down because we believe that this person is good. Greg, that catfish story has kept me laughing for days. Right. Will I listen to it? I shouldn't say this because I know I make people great, but those two lads, they're just great on me a little bit. Lads, it's just, anyway. What can be done for the girls whose photos she misused? Good question. They're the third party in this as well. Am I the only one who thinks this girl has made a laughingstock of these men? She didn't con them. She measured them and they thought they had bagged a beautiful woman and were desperate for her attention and stayed invested even when they knew something wasn't right. But she purported to be somebody else. She used somebody else's image. The person that they believed they had bagged wasn't the person at all. So I don't know. I'm not a fan of victim blaming because I do really feel that sometimes we can all be vulnerable. Right, body odor. Someone works with someone who has a body odor issue, and it's so bad that when they leave the room, the body odor remains. And they said, "Well, what can I do about this? How do I progress this?" A woman rang in to comment on the segment about body odor at work. She says that in her experience, instead of sitting around gossiping about it, the person should be approached in private and told personally. She said that the person was usually more grateful that they had been told privately. And, you know, there is also, too, a lot of people with no sense of smell. Or perhaps they've become immune to their own smell and they're walking around thinking everything's okay. You know, I don't think I would be offended if someone says to me, "Greg, you stink." I think I could turn that into a positive for me. I didn't realise, and I don't know. I approached a colleague privately regarding body odour, whom I was quite friendly with. She did not appreciate me telling her, "Stop speaking to me." If the shoe was on the other hand, I'd be glad someone approached me instead of all the behind my back talk, which was the case for her. Wow, so that's not reaction I was expecting. Our young people are so positive about Donegal that they've left in their thousands, resigned to the fact they'll never be able to rent or buy a home here, but thousands remain too. So I take where you're coming from. Hi, Greg. It's great the way the media just play along with this set up of the Dáil. 2 weeks off, midterm break, Paddy Day, summer's holidays, new wages, travel expenses. This is where media lets them away with it. Hey, can't say anything, or you're getting bother. It's not really for us to. I can't sit here and call that out, right? If I'm the media, but if you want to come on and talk about it, please do. But I ain't playing along with nothing. That's the truth. Quick break, and we're going to talk about men's sheds again. Then Chris will join us with business news.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio. The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Transform your space with McCafferty Tiles Ballabufey, specialising in large format and designer tiles. We offer expert installation and free design consultation in our showroom or on site. Let us bring your vision to life with bespoke recommendations. Call 086 242 3604 or find us on Facebook and Instagram. McCafferty Tiles Ballabufey, showroom by appointment.
If you have PRSI, you can get free hearing devices at Specsavers. Now, we know what you're thinking. Oh, if they're free, they're bound to be those big old-fashioned ones that do this kind of thing, as well as this kind of thing. But actually, they just do this kind of thing. Amazing sound from a rechargeable piece of tech so small you can barely see it. All completely free. So book a free hearing check at Specsavers now, because OK Hearing is not OK. On hearing devices up to €1,000, terms and conditions apply. See our website for details.
Visit Century Complex for a perfect family day out. Kids will love exploring Century Play. Hours of fun at our brand new indoor Crazy Golf. Lots of tasty options available in Backstage Bar and Grill. And at Century Cinemas, we're showing comedies, actions and adventure movies. Get in touch on 074 9121 or visit centurycinemas.ie for more information.
Copper is incredible. Sure, isn't that why Alexander Graham Bell used it? It's a perfect connection to the 19th century. Modern life needs modern technology. Cyro has always been fibre first. They get you up to speed with super fast, reliable, future-proofed fibre broadband. Get it through their retail partners like DigiWeb, Pure, Sky, Vodafone and others at cyro.ie today. Cyro, do life different. Subject to availability and location. Oh, lovely.
Enjoy real savings this week at Super Value, like large pack meats such as whole chicken 1.9 kilo, only €5. Selected fruit and veg such as closed cut mushrooms 250 gram, 79 cent each. Scan your card or app and get selected Alpro yogurts now $1.50. And Kind Bars 3-pack selected range now half price. Make real savings every week at Super Value.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is...
The time's 25, just nearly 26 minutes past 11. Now, we were talking yesterday on the programme about the funding of men's sheds. So up until now, men's sheds could get €3,000 vouched for towards the running costs. Now, the funding mechanism has changed. The headlines of it would make it appear that there's more money available, woohoo. But the reality is that your average men's shed on an annual basis now could draw down about €500. There is money there available if you wanted to buy a piece of machinery or something significant, but that's not going to happen on an annual basis. So the day-to-day running costs, really, the state assistance has gone from 3,000 to 500, according to those within the men's sheds circles. So what does this mean? Let's chat to Raymond McBride of the Kilmacrennan men's shed. Raymond, good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. Good morning to all your listeners.
Right, so these changes, well, firstly, was the Kilmacrennan men's shed a going concern until this funding change was announced, or was there always problems in keeping the lights on, Raymond?
Well, I'll not say there was problems in keeping the lights on, but it was always an ongoing battle to continually take on projects to try and raise some funds to meet the demand for finances. But after COVID, they realised that obviously the ministers and the people in power realised that men's sheds were providing a valuable asset to the community in various ways through helping with local projects and also helping men who had been isolated for a couple of years through COVID, the grand meeting on Zoom and meeting and WhatsApp, and some of the meetings were held that we held our meetings for a period when we were allowed outside. But they decided that a couple of years ago they granted a once-off, as we were led to believe, payment to help us. But then they renewed it and said that, they realised that there was value in men's sheds for various reasons. And I suppose one of the biggest ones is, and it's talked about a lot now, a lot more than it was, is men's mental health. And getting men to talk, and men do in general talk better when they're in other men's company and not in the social circle, but in a more private area. And they decided that they give this payment, so they were going to give it last year. It was €3,000. And just to give you an idea, our insurance for the year, our rent, our heat, our light, etc., we're just totaling it up there. It comes to about €2,650 just to open the doors. Now, we do ask members for a contribution, and that contribution goes a long way to helping us out. But you have to give back for that too. There's certain things we help out with in the community that you don't expect to get paid for. And you can't expect to get paid for. And there's other things we take on to try and make a few pounds for the few euro for the sheds, for our shed. And not all sheds do that. And I suppose not all sheds have that ability or capability to do it in the area they're in.
Yeah.
So
I think I just want to pick up on what you mentioned there about men's mental health. We have a mental health crisis in this country and also in this county. And I'll tell you, there's a group of men, I think, that are particularly vulnerable. They're often in their 40s, 50s, early 60s. And we don't really have a handle on the amount of these men that we're losing. And I don't think we talk about it enough either. And we quite rightly talk about other groups that do suffer, but sometimes the lads get left behind in this particular area of health. And, you talked of one of your men, and I'm not saying for a minute that he had any ideation or anything like that there, but if it wasn't for the men's shed, he'd still be living effectively in isolation. And this man's been brought into a group of other men able to participate and contribute to the community. And that is vital. And you know, the cost, we can put a cost on the usefulness of these sheds, and it's $3,000 a year for 25 sheds, €75,000, a tiny amount of money to, you know, potentially save poor mental health and God knows who knows lives.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're talking 25 sheds. Last year, 2 new sheds, or last year and this year, we're now in 25, 2 new sheds opened their doors. And both of those sheds opened their doors with the expectation that going forward, and there's actually a third now up and running, and one of those particular sheds, it actually stemmed from an event that was tragic in the area, and it brought the shed on, they got going because of it. And now they're going to be faced with what they were hoping to be able to get was a €3,000 drawdown to help cover. And like when we started the shed, the insurance probably was €300 odd, and it's now over €1,200. And you know, if you opened a sports club in the area with the expectation that you were going to be able to avail of enough money to cover the basic day-to-day costs going forward, well, you'd be thinking from there on, we're okay, we're going to be able to open the doors, it's worthwhile doing. And suddenly these 3 new sheds, and maybe there's a 4th one now hopefully coming in line, they're going to say to themselves, well, hold on, you know, what do we do here?
Oh, and please, people have enough bother at home without wondering how they're going to meet the bills of the men's shed. Rent $500, insurance $1,200. That's $1,700 before you even start.
Some of them are probably paying much, much more than that. You know, there are sheds who probably get a building maybe that's like when our shed was taken over, it was a derelict cottage, and an awful lot of money has been spent, and admittedly, and nobody denies it, a lot of it was grant aided, but a lot of it was done through hard work of the members that started the shed, and thankfully they're all bar one are still there. Unfortunately, we lost one through a bereavement, but the shed has thrived and it's a sign of there's a need for it when the same members keep coming back, and we've over the couple of years recruited a few new members. During COVID or after COVID, we got another member in. We got a few Ukrainian guys that were here. We now have a Serbian guy that's living in the area interested in joining us. And that's a sign that there's a need for it.
Yeah, all right, Raymond. Listen, you make a really, really strong point. Hopefully, I know there are proposals. There are proposals in relation to this funding. Hopefully, common sense. Hopefully common sense prevails. Raymond, thank you so much for opening the door of the shed and give us an insight into the importance of it. Raymond McBride of the Kilmacrennan's Men's Shed. Right, the Dail reconvened today, and it's been a feisty beginning to proceedings. The Camcorla Verona Murphy has suspended the House. She did so 11:30 for 15 minutes. Just prior to that, Sinn Féin's Padraig McLaughlin proposed that Dail be suspended and the Business Committee deal with the matter of independents sitting in the opposition. Obviously, that drew jeers and cheers. And there was a lot of the Camcorla asking TDs not to shout at her or to jump out of their seats. There was some conversation about the return date of the Dail, which I believe actually is what Padraig McLaughlin wanted the Business Committee to consider. Members of the opposition earlier in the sitting loudly making their position on speaking rights debate known. Matt Carthy of Sinn Féin, he said he's really disappointed while talking loudly despite appeals from Camcorla's Verona Murphy to stop. This is RTE coverage, so it's not going to be necessarily pro-opposition. Michael Collins of Independent Ireland said the Dáil must sit next week. He said the speaking rights arrangements must be resolved. You cannot be on the inside and on the outside, he said. Ain2 leader Paddy Bean, he said 89 days will have elapsed between the Dáils sat for, between when the Dáil sat for consecutive days. He mentioned homeless children and other serious issues that believes that he is of the view that the Dáil should sit next week. Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald, she also said that the Dáil should not take a 2-week holiday. As we heard, Pádraig McLaughlin says that should be dealt with at a business committee level, and the Dáil has now been suspended to reconvene at 11:45.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
The biggest sale ever has been extended at Easy Living Furniture. Absolutely everything is reduced across all of our departments, including sofas, dining, bedroom, mattresses, and home accessories, with added free delivery on all orders over £499. This weekend only. Shop the biggest sale ever at Easy Living Furniture. Crescentlink Retail Park, Derry, Londonderry. Don't miss out. This sale ends soon.
McCullough Jewellers in Letterkenny are synonymous with fine jewellery, quality watches and giftware, with stores at Main Street, Letterkenny and the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, or online at ormccullough.com. You can choose from their quality product range in a relaxed atmosphere, and their sales staff will be happy to help you make the right choice, whatever the occasion. McCullough Jewellers, making moments magical for generations.
Discover a new standard in healthcare at Greenview Medical Centre, Letterkenny. For routine checkups or urgent concerns, Greenview Medical Centre offers children's consultations, referrals, prescriptions and specialised male and female healthcare. Don't wait to get the care you deserve. Book now at greenviewmedicalcentre.ie or call 074 920 2070. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Greenview Medical Centre, Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny. A new health horizon.
An Advanced Healthcare Directive is a document which records your future healthcare decisions, including refusals and consents on treatment, surgery, medicines and resuscitation.
All adults, and particularly those using healthcare services, should make an Advanced Healthcare Directive
and give a copy to those who need to know.
For information on how to make your own Advanced Healthcare Directive, visit safeguardingireland.org. Protect your healthcare wishes from Safeguarding Ireland.
Time to play Lidl's price is always right. What's the price of a full trolley for a family of 4?
€174. €147.46.
It's a winner! You really can go full Lidl because Lidl's price is always right.
For full list of trolley items and more information, visit Lidl.ie/price is always right.
Now, we are heading at a very fast pace to Highland Radio's Hospitality Awards for 2025. And to that end, nominations close in 3 days. We've had thousands upon thousands of you nominating businesses, which is brilliant because it is the public voting for the businesses that they enjoy going into, and it makes it very real for me in any case. But there's still an opportunity for you to nominate any business that works in hospitality. It could be a fish and chip shop. It could be an adventure centre. It could be a soft play area. It can be a hotel. It can be a pub. It can be a late pub. It can be a sports pub. There are categories for pretty much every element of hospitality. And if you've been into or maybe there's a particular member of bar staff that always goes above and beyond when you go in and you think, you know what, wouldn't it be amazing if they were shortlisted and potentially even win a Highland Radio Hospitality Award? It really is a way for you to support and recognise good customer service and good experience, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Go onto our website, highlandradio.com, and you'll see the banner there. Click in and find there's drop-down menus. There's headings for, I don't have the information here, but I'll try and do it off the top of my head, hotels, bars, and other stuff as well, right? And in the drop-down menus, you'll find a category to put your business in, that you want to nominate. So do that. You can write a few words, which is useful. And as I say, they could be shortlisted and they could go on to win. The lines will close in terms of the nominations in 3 days, and then they'll reopen when the shortlist has been announced. So you, again, will decide who wins what in association with our excellent expert judging panel. So nominations close on Friday the 24th of January. It is not too late. It doesn't matter if the business was nominated the first or last. They'll all be given equal consideration. So, and if you're a business owner, by the way, and I've spoken to and seen the joy on faces of business owners who were A, shortlisted, or B, won these awards. It's a great lift for any business. So if you are a business, don't be coy. Stick a post up on your social media and the link to the Highland Radio website and say, look, if you've been into our establishment and you had a good experience, please give us a nomination. Because you can't always rely on people to not think someone else has done it, right? So if you're a business, no harm plugging yourself on your socials and asking for nominations. If you're a member of the public and you want to give credit to a business or a person within that business, hop onto the website. As I say, we've had thousands upon thousands of nominations. These are Highland Radio's awards, but these are the People's Hospitality Awards 2025. So get on that right now.
Business Matters on Highland Radio is brought to you by Local Enterprise Office Donegal. If you have an idea to start or grow your business within Donegal, contact the Local Enterprise Office to find out more about the supports available for businesses. See localenterprise.ie/Donegal.
So it's the hump of another week. Chris Ashmore's in studio with me. Hi, Chris. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg.
We'll talk about the podcast in a mo, but first, let's talk a bit of news. And a survey has been conducted on workplace distractions, he says, whilst being distracted trying to read.
Yes,
indeed. What was in front of me.
An interesting survey from a company called Codex Office Solutions. But they looked at people in this era of hybrid working, and it's all beginning to change a bit. It was certainly ticking all the boxes for a lot of people at one stage, but they find now, in the survey, there's an awful lot of distractions when you're working at home. Of course, the postman calls with a parcel and you have to get up and do something.
Home's under the hammer.
Background noise, 41% respondents saying causing that. And then also people were saying social media notifications, 27%. It could be unrelated to your work, but you're getting that ping and whatever. So it says...
I wonder too, do people around you, I've never been in this situation, I wonder do people in your life respect your boundaries though, right? Because there's many wouldn't maybe call you or want something from you if you were in an office environment, but because you're at home, they view that as a different type of work, and I wonder do the boundaries fall down in that regard?
If you don't set it out, because the survey found that household chores such as laundry and cleaning top the polls as the biggest disruptor for 41% of hybrid workers, followed by looking after children or pets at 30%. You may have to bring the dog out to do its business. And cooking or preparing meals.
See, that's not hybrid working for me. If I was a business owner, I wouldn't. Firstly, I think people should be on site because you'll get better productivity that way. Controversial, right? But I mean, those things should not be a distraction. If you are working from home, you should have working hours, and you should have a space within which you work. And the house only becomes the house when you step out of that door. So that would be a concern for me. It's not a big wonder there's a pushback on it. To be honest with you.
How does an employer really know what the person is doing? If they're productive enough, well, maybe they don't get too bothered. But it's an issue.
All right, we're heading towards the busiest car shopping day of the year.
Now, there's a website, Car Zone, which is a marketplace for buying and selling cars, and from surveys that they have done and looking at their own data, they are saying that tomorrow, January the 23rd, will be the busiest day for car shopping in 2025. So why is that? Number of reasons they say. Well, naturally enough, there's always good deals at this time of year amongst car dealers. People have got over what they call that post-holiday slump. And there's a certain amount of people who will purchase their car or put in the order in November and December, and it's already in January.
Of course, and it's probably just around the time that he has broken her will and convinced her that a new car is just the answer to everything.
Yeah, or the other way around.
Well, perhaps I suspect 9 times out of 10 it's in the other direction.
So a lot of people going online as well, and just interesting to note that the most search for model overall through CarZone is the Volkswagen Golf, followed by the BMW 5 Series and 3 Series.
Mm-hmm.
3 German cars.
Yeah, also, I think that's more representative of who operates in that space, maybe younger people. You know, the Volkswagen Golf.
Yes.
I don't think there's many people 35, 45 are searching for that, but I know myself, because it's happening in my house, 19, 20 and 21-year-olds possibly are. Right, Aldi released a press release there earlier this week, trumpeting how they treat their staff. Why
yes,
not, because it seems pretty good.
Aldi, of course, employ quite a number of people in Donegal and throughout the country, and they've always been to the forefront of saying that they're good payers, and they've put up their minimum hourly rate again at their stores and their warehouses, and it's now standing at €15.10 per hour.
Which I think is ahead of the living wage, isn't it?
And there's also additional increments after 1, 2, 3 years of service. Now, I know a couple of people who work in Aldi, and you do earn your money because it is pretty much flat to the mat all the time. But nevertheless, at $15.10, I think it's a pretty decent amount.
Yep, I think so. And you know, a lot of people talk about them being international or foreign stores, but they're all employing local people and sourcing a lot of their goods locally as well. So there you go, $15.10 an hour, not bad. Right, the EY Entrepreneur of the Year 2025.
Yeah, now, you mentioned earlier the Highland Hospitality Awards, and I'll be speaking on Business Matters with Sean Quinn about them in a future edition as we get closer to that. But lots of awards you can nominate businesses for. And look, if you can get through and get to the final, great prestige. It can be a big boost. The EY Entrepreneur of the Year Award, now this really is, I suppose, the biggest of them with the greatest kudos attached to it. It's part of a global program. 60 countries are involved in this. It's the 28th year in Ireland. So look, just Google EY Entrepreneur of the Year. You'll find all the details on that. And it gets a lot of coverage and very prestigious. And following on from that, coming up, just to let people know, the deadline for the RDS Circular Economy Awards is on February the 7th. And circular economy, more and more businesses getting involved in this. So products and materials kept in circulation, less wastage, and we're all in, I think, pretty much in favour of that.
Make spare parts for our dishwashers, washing machines and dryers available.
Yeah.
Because you call someone out and they say, well, it's not worth fixing. I think that's changing, though. Okay, we'll look forward to this week's podcast after we take this short break.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
This Friday, Around the Northwest is live from the new McCabe's Pharmacy, formerly Lloyd's Pharmacy, on Pierce Road, Letterkenny. They're having a full weekend of special promotions and offers, and there's a chance to win great hampers and spot prizes. We'll be there to set the scene and get a few tips on how to get over coughs and colds, among other ailments. That's Around the Northwest, this Friday the 24th, live from the new McCabe's Pharmacy on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
The wind has always been a part of who we are. For generations, we've worked with it and against it. But this generation is different. We have the wind working for us. SSE Airtricity has been harnessing our greatest natural resource for the past 25 years, providing cleaner, renewable energy for homes and businesses across the country. SSE Airtricity. This is Generation Green.
Are you female, currently unemployed and looking for a new career in construction? Rural Enterprise SkillNet is delighted to announce the next Women in Construction programme commencing February 17th in Letterkenny. For more information or to apply, visit ruralenterpriseskillnet.ie. Closing date for applications is February 4th with interviews on February 6th.
Having COVID-19 symptoms or testing positive can be worrying, but knowing your risk level helps. Visit knowandgo.ie to find out if you're at risk of developing severe COVID-19. Call your healthcare professional to seek clinical assessment and advice if you contract COVID-19 and are at high risk for developing severe COVID-19. This message is supported by Pfizer Healthcare Ireland.
Life getting busy? Restore your balance with HelloFresh, so at least dinner time's under control. HelloFresh dinner kits are easier than ever. Cook delicious meals in a few simple steps for home-cooked dinners that everyone will love. HelloFresh, hello dinner.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. Join us on March 8th for our special occasion preview with the sparkling afternoon tea in Harvey's Point. Tickets go on sale Friday 31st of January at 7 p.m. Available from mcelhennys.com.
So it's going to be mostly dry, but there'll be a few isolated showers and some sunny spells. Highest temperatures of 4 to 7 degrees in light southwest or variable winds. And just to reminder for you that there's an orange wind warning for Donegal overnight Thursday. 2 a.m. through Friday. In the early hours, there will be some snow and it might actually accumulate, turning to rain. Wind gusts of up to 130 kilometres per hour. And that's if the storm tracks as it is at the moment. That may well change, but we'll keep you updated on all of that. They're still in recess in the Dail, by the way. They had a right old Barney when it reconvened today, or sat for the first time today, and they have taken a break. Chris Ashmore is still with me here, of course, and we're going to talk about this week's Business Matters podcast, Chris.
That's right, Greg. Speaking with a couple of people in this week's edition. First of all, Inishowen-based Dail Harrigan Edgar, based down in Quigley's Point, and she set up her own aromatherapy business. Really sort of hatched the idea back in COVID, bit of time in her hands, and it's called I Am Self-Care, and she has great passion for this business, and it has expanded considerably since the start. And earlier this week she was at the major Showcase Ireland Expo at the RDS, so giving her exposure to potential buyers from the UK and Europe and the States, and she has big plans for the years ahead, and very upbeat about the prospects.
Yeah, I make it from my studio in Quigley's Point, yeah. Everything's handmade by me. Any product that I make for your skin, for skincare, it's all cosmetically safety assessed. So there's a lot that goes into making the products, to testing the products, to making sure that it's the right blend, that the essential oils are working in synergy with each other. So yeah, everything's made by me and tested at my studio at home in Quigley's Point, yeah.
Yeah, I love hearing about these businesses that, you know, maybe there's not broad knowledge that they exist. I'm not speaking specifically about Adele's business there, but, you know, I think the podcast really gives a fantastic platform for those of us who don't know what's going on to find out what's going on, because there's amazing ideas that have grown into successful businesses and great plans from the future. It must be really enjoyable actually chatting to these people, Chris.
Absolutely, and it's great to see what's been done, and then a lot of these people in turn, they might take on a couple of employees and expand. So look, it's great for the local economy, and certainly her I Am Self-Care, she's developed a range, she's got the qualifications, she's got great feedback for her products, and as is the case in a lot of businesses, through having a website, getting a lot of sales, and you don't know where your next sale is coming from.
It's exciting. All right, second item on the pod.
Yeah, also in the programme, speaking to Sharon Lombard of a non-voluntary organisation, I Wish. And look, this is all about getting more women.
It's a not-for-profit.
Not-for-profit, yeah. Okay. And it's all about getting more women, and particularly looking at girls in schools to look at the what are known as the STEM subjects: science, technology, engineering and maths. Still not enough girls doing these subjects.
And God knows, historically, we have the role models, some real leading lights over our history here.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's a showcase coming up next month in the RDS. There'll be a number of schools from Donegal who are bringing students down to it. There's going to be a number of inspirational speakers, including Irish Olympian Phil Healy. And, you know, she's involved in that sector. And so many jobs these days are linked into having a bit of a knowledge of science, technology, engineering and maths. So that's what that's all about, and just really encouraging girls and young women after school to, don't rule out these careers, have a look at them, and there's going to be jobs in these areas in the future.
Brilliant stuff, Chris. Now, the podcast available today on our website, highlandradio.com, and you can listen back to it at your leisure. But if that's not your thing, you want to listen to it on the radio, Chris?
Sunday after the 6 o'clock news.
And if anyone wants to contact you, read the pod or past or future episodes.
It's businessmatters@highlandradio.com.
Thank you, Chris. See you next Wednesday. Now, there's a huge archive now of Business Matters podcasts. Whether you have an interest in business, just an interest in conversation, or starting a business, tons of experiences of people, pitfalls, what's worked, what didn't work. So it's a great resource for loads and loads of different people for different reasons. Okay, heading towards the end of the show, time for a comment here. Men's Shed, one needed in Remelton. There's an apparent shortfall of services for isolated people. Mental health is very important, and facilities such as men's sheds provide an outlet for people to talk about their issues, and it can be a source of entertainment to many lonely people. More recognition for services that provide mental health is desperately needed, or mental help. Gives people a place to talk about their personal problems and socialise. More recognition for the assistance they provide. And you would just imagine in this day and age that they're pushing an open door. We're talking about 25 odd men's sheds, and their funding annually up until now was 3,000. Surely we should be actually increasing the funding, getting more men through the doors, rather than changing a system that makes acquiring funding more difficult. But it is what it is. Right, that's Wednesday's show pretty much in the bag. Thank you very much for listening or watching.